What's up, guys?
On this week's show,
Venom review
Mega Man the movie,
and podcasts are dead.
plus
Dumb shit of the week.
All that and more on this episode
Of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared, and with me are my co-hosts, Benoit
Pink lemonade. Why is there not blue lemonade? That's sexist.
and DJ Mellybell.
Hey!
So, this week, we are doing nothing but trailers. No, I'm kidding.
It sounds about right.
I felt like last week there was so many. I was just like, God damn, I should just made it just the trailer episode. But no, we have two that, because like I said last week, there was one that I wanted to get to that came like last minute, but I was like, I'm not going to try and fit it into the show. We'll do it next week.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, which is ironic that I chose to do this one next week because we saw this trailer at the beginning and more footage from the movie at the end of the Venom movie, but we're going to get there. That's later. Okay, so the first one is, now from what I understand, this is the footage that they showed at Comic-Con earlier this year at San Diego, not New York Comic-Con, because that one just ended, but San Diego Comic-Con. And they didn't release it to the public or whatever, and people were just kind of describing it, and this is, I guess, the extended, super deluxe, double wide, I don't know, triple stack, Big Buford combo trailer for Aquaman.
Jason Momoa is a big dude. He needs a big trailer.
That's fair. That is a fair point. That is very fair.
Hey, I have no complaints.
No, she's like, Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
no
complaints.
So first off, before we break it down, just general thoughts. Melly Mel, what'd you think about it?
This definitely gave me a little more hope for Aquaman.
Okay.
After seeing the first Aquaman trailer, I was left wanting more.
That's fair.
I needed just a little bit more to kind of sell me on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this trailer added a little bit of it to that.
Okay.
So I'm a little more sold on this Aquaman as opposed to what I was previously.
Fair. Benoit?
Y'all ladies can have Jason Momoa all you want. Give me redheaded Amber Heard all day.
I know, right?
That too.
Yes.
It was Lord. But I know you haven't seen Justice League or BVS or any of that shit. From this, does this, because I know the general consensus for most people that don't really know shit about Aquaman, they just know the Aquaman from the Super Friends and all that shit.
The
the corny ass,
mermaid
Aquaman. Does this sell you on taking him seriously as an action hero and a, legit superhero that could stand toe to toe with, Batman and Superman and shit like that?
Okay, well, let's put it like this, all right? Aquaman gets shed on quite a bit, but he was one of the founding members of the Justice League. Mm-hmm. Now, to be honest with the trailer, it looks just like your generic action film, except with characters that I'm relatively familiar with.
Sure.
So it's going to be one of those things where it's if you like action films, you're going to want to watch it because that's what it's going to be. If you like the characters, then it may be a completely new twist on how you may be used to him being portrayed, especially in the cartoons, like you were saying, because Aquaman was always kind of like the butt of the joke. He was he was the friend that you were too nice to say couldn't be at the party. Right. So now he gets to do his own thing. And what the fuck were those robots? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
they looked like the Sentinel things from X-Men.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Well, the guy with the laser eyes and shit, that's Black Manta. Mm-hmm. He's one of Aquaman's arch nemesis, from the comics and shit like that. This is the first time they've done Like, if you've ever seen or played any of the, I think Injustice 2, he was a playable character in that, but Injustice games. But yeah, he's just basically one of Aquaman's many arch nemesis. Nemesi? What's plural for nemesis? Nemesis?
Nemesis.
Right.
That was good, Ben. That was good.
But okay, so for me, it looks good. I will say this: it looks good. It looks like they're having fun. That is my main thing. Like all these DC movies, even Wonder Woman's the best out of all of them, but even that one's kind of dour and kind of sad seeming and shit. Like this one actually looks like they're having fun. Like that's my big takeaway from it. I do like the CG. It looks much better than it did in the first couple trailers that we saw.
For sure.
Like the more time it's getting closer to releasing the movie, it seems like they're refining it more and, put it through a couple more render passes before they, showed us anything from it. My big takeaway from this is the comedy. The comedy is actually working for me. Like I didn't think that I would, because I mean, they kept trying to make him like.
I would say you had issues with them one-liners.
I did. How they portrayed Aquaman in Justice League movie, they made him like a dude, bro. He's all like, whoa, yeah, all right, like surfing and all this shit. It's just like, really? I mean, I get it. We're trying to get away from, like we said earlier, his super friends, self. But I don't want him to be like fucking from like Jersey Shore though either, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Because that's kind of the vibes I got from him from Justice League. But in this, I think it's because it's a different director and his comedic sensibilities are a bit different. For those who don't know, James Wan is directing this, and he is from like Fast and Furious fame, and he directed like a couple of the first few Saw movies and shit. So he has a different take on like comedic elements and shit like that. So
sure.
The very first thing that was said that made me laugh out loud was when they go to the Sahara and Amber Heard, she like pulls the water from his forehead and she's like, oh, we need water. And he's like, oh, show off. He was like, you could have just peed on it. That shit grabbed me the fuck up. I was like, what the fuck? But he had a point. I mean, it is water. I mean, it's wastewater and shit and other shit from your body, but it is water. I mean,
essentially, if it works for jellyfish,
right? Hey, look, he just pee on the shit. Like, all right, it's like to open the key to the secret of Atlantis. You just piss on it. Like, yeah, no, that seems legit.
He is a better Roman Reigns than Roman Reigns in the 2 minutes of the 5 minutes of this fucking trailer.
Oh,
I kind of do want to see it.
So the other thing is, the one thing that I'm kind of apprehensive about with it is it still looks like Black Panther meets The Little Mermaid to me. Like, I'm still getting that, especially with the colors and shit. It's very vibrant and purpley, and like, it reminded me of Wakanda, just underwater. Which, not just that, but the whole. It
could be good or bad.
There's like the two warring factions going against each other, and they have to have a fight to see who's going to be the king.
And a half-brother thing.
Yeah, I'm like, man, this feels a lot like Black Panther. But at the same time, Black Panther felt a lot like The Lion King, which The Lion King feels a lot like Hamlet, so maybe we're just all just aping Hamlet. I guess we'll just go off of that.
Hey.
I mean, are we going to see Tobo or Ursula on the
Oh my god!
No, it'll be.
I can't with you. Ben.
It'll be what was the name of the fucking seagull?
Scuttle.
Was that his name? Scuttle?
In The Little Mermaid?
Yeah, is it Scuttle?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Scuttle will be in there. Wah 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 wah. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then they'll get like the Jamaican crab dude and
Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebastian. I haven't watched Little Mermaid.
Do you know that when I was younger, I never caught on that he was a Jamaican crab?
Oh yeah, man, he's there. You see her. I swear to God,
I never caught on to the fact that he was a Jamaican crab.
If he'd had dreadlocks at some point in the movie, it would have not surprised me.
I think
he
did.
Oh, but overall, I am looking forward to this. Like Mel said, I have much more hope for this movie now than I did at any point going into this.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of excited for the fact that we're getting away from those crazy dark DC movies.
Yes.
Aesthetically
and tone wise, like visually and just how it comes across, It's not just brooding, and it's like, oh, being a superhero sucks so
having
bad.
to go to a theater and like squint hard to see what I'm looking at.
Jesus, yes. I don't know if it's going to be like an opening night thing. Probably, because we're going to probably review it for the show. It comes out in November, so we'll see.
I thought it was December. Did they move it?
No, it comes out on December 21st.
Oh shit! Then what comes out in November then?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know how I would have confused those two things though.
I don't know.
Queen, Jason Momoa, it's all the same thing,
whatever.
right?
They're all related.
I see a little Jason Momoa in a film. Oh.
Aquaman, can you talk to some fish, please? Yeah. Anyway.
That was pretty good.
The next trailer that we got is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, my dick has been hard for this movie since I first saw the first inkling of this, and I was just like, this is going to be dope. This is going to be dope. But now I'm kind of pissed off. I'm not going to lie. But I'll tell you why, but go ahead. Give me
I
your
think
thoughts.
I know why. That we got more at the end of Venom than you were expecting in.
Spoiler alert, but yeah, okay. No, that's no, I mean, that's not really a spoiler, but it's go ahead. And that's not the reason though. No.
Oh.
Just off the trailer itself, not from the clip that we saw at the end of Venom. Not that.
Oh.
But tell me your thoughts and then
I mean,
we'll go.
I'm mixed about this.
Okay.
Because as interesting as it's going to see, or as interesting as it's going to be to see the Gwen Stacy character and the Miles character and the Peter Parker all kind of coming together, that's going to be cool because we've never really seen that on the big screen. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it being an animated is kind of like, it's not rubbing me the wrong way. It's just, I don't get as excited for animated.
And that's fair. A lot of people, like, people like cartoons and shit, but at the same time, no. Have you watched Frozen?
Yeah.
Fuck you then. So your whole argument goes out the window because I get so mad at people be like, oh, well, animated this, that, and the other. Everybody went and seen Frozen. Nobody complained about that.
No, I didn't go see Frozen. I've seen Frozen.
Did you enjoy it?
No, not at all. It sucked.
All right. All right, maybe I got to take some of that back. But no, I get it, though. A lot of people are kind of like that. Like, some people just kind of grow out of, like, an animated shit, which I get it.
I liked like the Disney movies and the Pixar movies and stuff like that, but it's not something that I'm going to run to the theaters and see.
That's fair.
It's more of like, oh, hey, I'm at home and I'm feeling nostalgic. Let me watch some kind of a animated film kind of thing for me.
That's fair.
And I don't want the Spider-Man to feel like that. So I'm sure that we will go see it in theaters.
You goddamn right we're going to see that shit in theaters.
He's going to be dragging my ass.
Look, shit, you crazy
like,
as hell.
Excuse me, the show starts in 20 minutes. Right. Why are you not ready?
Shit, the fuck you thought this shit was? All right, Benoit, go ahead.
Okay, so you've had a hard-on for this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It rubs her the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how many different well-known actors and comedians are going to be Spider-Man in this multi-universe.
Yeah, that'd be something to kind of think about.
Okay.
The whole, how much money are they going to be dishing out just for people to lend their voices? That's just kind of a side note from just watching the trailer, what I picked up on. Now, how you mentioned DJ Melly Mel. Because it's animated, I think animation gets a not necessarily a bad rap, but people view animation as if it's childish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are simply not going to see it simply because it is a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
A cartoon can be just as dramatic, have every different element of what would make a good story as a live action film, but for whatever reason it has that negative connotation to it, and I think that's kind of bullshit, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. As it comes to this, it feels like it's going to be very tongue-in-cheek, something very family-friendly, but still relatively close enough to its source material that like the hardcore nerds aren't going to get all uptight and pretentious about it.
Sure.
I'm hoping my impression of that comes to fruition because it looks like something that I would like to see.
Oh yeah.
Because it goes back to kind of what I was mentioning before, how like I don't like it when these movie studios have different canons, different storylines involving different people playing the same character.
Right.
But here, we're actually going to kind of make it very comedy-esque of all the different Spider-Mans from all the different multi-universes coming into one comedy, action-packed cartoon. And that's something I don't think you could really pull off all that well with humans.
With humans. No, I know what you mean.
No, that's,
you would
that's
have to.
fair enough.
No, I know what you mean. Just how you said it.
You would
was
have to
funny.
CG. You'd have to CG the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
And that alone might completely turn me off.
Yeah, true.
I like how since this is animated, they have the scenes where the spidey senses are tingly.
Yeah.
I really like that visual. That's really cool. So Ben might be onto something.
No, I think they could. I mean, if you've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, you'd see how they could kind of animate things into a live-action film. I just think knowing that this is a Spider-Man film, they're better off doing this in pure animation because it would be a really tedious task. And I don't know if I would be able to see all these people portraying all these different roles of Spider-Man. I'd rather just hear the voices. I think the voice acting is going to be what makes or breaks this film.
That's a very fair statement. Because don't they have who do they have as the Peter Parker character?
Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
He's from The New Girl and Let's Be Cops.
Right.
And he was in the Tag movie. Yeah.
He doesn't come across as someone that's a Spider-Man-esque character, but his voice does seem to do well.
Yeah, like when they said that it was him, because when I first saw the first trailer, I recognized his voice, but I couldn't place who it was. And then when they said it was Jake Johnson, I was like, oh, like I would have never picked him for older Peter Parker and shit. But I was like, okay, like I was like, I think this dude's funny. I think he has a good sense of humor.
When I first saw it, I thought it was God, I just had his name and I can't think of it. The blonde-headed guy from Jerry Maguire that was the rivaling agent. Jay Moore.
Oh, but no, I could see why you said that. Oh, sure.
Like, that's who I thought it was, and I was like, oh, that's an odd choice.
Mm.
And then when I found out it wasn't him, and I'm like, oh, okay.
He's like, good guy.
See, now who was this guy's name again? You said it was from New Girl?
Jake Johnson.
Okay, Jake Johnson. He is like a younger, not fat David Krumholtz.
Ooh,
That's who I thought was the voice at first. You might remember him if he was on the show Numbers. He was one of the stoners, a minor character in Harold and Kumar. If you remember the old 90s Tim Allen, the Santa Claus
elf.
film, he was like the head elf.
Bernard. Yes.
Yeah.
I know. He's the main guy in Numbers. Curly, crazy hair.
Yeah. Him and this guy have such a similar voice. I cannot distinguish the two.
I can kind of see that, or hear that, I guess, now that you've said that.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, this guy still has work. All right.
Right. He was like, hey, he's got to do voice work, but hey, he's still working.
Yeah.
No, okay, so let me explain. Visually, everything about this I love. Like, I love that it's the animation style. I like the colors, like the character designs. I'm all for that. The thing that's rubbing me the wrong way is I thought it was going to be Miles's movie. I don't like the fact that now obviously I knew it was going to be called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I thought, because when the very first trailer came out, it was like, okay, Miles is Spider-Man, Peter Parker's going to show up, and at the very end of the trailer, it was like, oh, and Gwen Stacy is going to be there. And it's like, okay, all right, Spider-Gwen, our main Peter Parker, and Miles is Spider-Man. I was like, okay, I can live with that. Sure. Then Spider-Man Noir popped up. And then the little anime girl with the mech Spider-Man thing popped up. And then Spider-Ham showed up. And I was like, okay, goddammit, what the fuck is going on? I get it. That's the story that they're telling. But, okay, so to give you some context. Before Marvel got the whole custody, the joint custody deal with Sony to get Spider-Man into the MCU, they were like, when they said that they weren't doing the Amazing Spider-Man no more, Andrew Garfield was done, they were starting it over again, everybody was like, this is a good time to reboot Spider-Man, but don't do Peter Parker again, kill him off, and then bring Miles in like they did in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there was a big push for that for a long time, and it never came to fruition, obviously. But then when this movie, they were talking about they were making this movie, they're going to make an animated Spider-Man movie with Miles Morales, and people were kind of like, I don't like really the fact that you're kind of going to animated route, because it feels like you're kind of jipping them, because like you guys have said, you know, animation gets kind of a bad rap.
Sure.
But it was like, hey, they're throwing us a bone, we'll take it, whatever. Then it's like, okay, it's Miles is in it, but it's not really, quote-unquote, his movie, per se.
Yeah, it makes me wonder two things. One, how long this thing is actually going to be. Like, whether it's going to be, you know, standard animated 90 minutes, or if it's going to extend...
Like a 2-hour...
Like a 2-hour normal, you know, 2.5-hour normal movie. And how much of Miles's story we're actually going to see.
I think, at least the way the trailer positions it, I think... it's going to be through the lens of Miles. You know, like we're going to see this through his perspective, but we're going to have all these other characters.
Well, sure, but I mean,
too.
like, how much focus is going to be just on the Miles part of it in his backstory and his, you know, I think his adventures as Spider-Man,
sure,
as opposed to interacting with the other Spider people.
Right. Spider-Mans. No, see, I think, like I said, I think it's going to take place in his universe. His universe will be Universe 1, our main universe, and then all the other Spider-Man will come into his universe, and then he has to try and figure out, okay, how to get them back home and yada yada. Because in his universe, Peter Parker is dead.
Right.
Yeah, he is the main Spider-Man, you know, and then he meets him and yada yada. It's this whole other thing.
Yeah, and it sounds like something to do with the Hydron Collider.
Yeah,
is the reason all
yeah.
these
The Kingpin's firing it up for some odd reason or whatever.
He somehow made his way to Genova or wherever the hell it is.
right, exactly.
Wouldn't the X-Men be all over that shit then? But anyway.
Right, I know, right?
Daredevil
I'm
or
thinking,
something.
it seems as though this is going to take place simply in the universe that we're accustomed to, or the real one as it pertains to the Spider-Man Miles' universe. It's going to obviously have an ensemble cast, like I mentioned. I'm thinking, like, I can already kind of view some kind of plot, not plot lines per se, but just the way they're going to... I think it's going to be pretty predictable in the sense that every other Spider-Man is going to bring whatever they have or they know from their respective universes to make a more well-rounded team.
Yeah.
Who are going to, you know, take care of Kingpin in that. And then it's going to be... I don't know if that's going to be the main story or the B story, because there was some interaction between him and his father, the cop.
Sure.
You know, outside of the school, tell me you love me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that one of those two is going to be a B line. Guessing it's going to be him and his father. Miles is probably going to be like the side story, just because why would you dish out the money to get all these people to lend their voices?
Sure.
That's my take. That's my guess.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, as long as we don't sideline him too much, like if he's got to share the spotlight, kind of like with Spider-Man: Homecoming. I didn't like the fact that they put Iron Man in it. I dealt with it because I saw what they were doing, because they were kind of following that plot thread from Civil War about him kind of being like a father figure to Peter, him building a suit for him and kind of showing him the ways of the superheroes or whatever. So I accepted that. And plus, when you actually sat down and watch Homecoming, Iron Man's not in it that much. He pops up like twice, I think.
Right. I think he's got like 15 minutes screen time
total, yeah. So he's not like, he doesn't take the movie over. So I'm hoping it'll be like that, to where it'll be Miles' movie for the most part, but then Peter will be a mentor to him, and then the other characters are just kind of like, you know, just kind of sort of there, but not really. I mean, honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, it's an animated movie. It's going to be family friendly and for kids and shit like that. Spider-Ham is going to be like everybody's favorite, just like in Guardians of the Galaxy. Everybody loves Rocket. He's going to be the Rocket Raccoon of this shit. He's some weird talking animal thing. He's going to be the most goofy. He's going to have the most probably jokes and one-liners and shit, which that's totally fine.
I mean, he is a talking pig.
My only worry is that because they are all a version of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is this quippy, sarcastic, shit-talking superhero that everyone's going to feel the same. I mean, they are technically the same person, just variations, different degradations of the same model, but I'm just worried that they're gonna all feel too much like each other. That's my only worry. Gwen is the only one that seems like I'm above this shit. Like, I'm too cool for this kind of dumb shit. But everybody else is just like, oh, cracking jokes and don't let them see you and animals talk on this universe and it was just like, oh man, I don't know how much of that I'm gonna be able to take, because that is why I didn't like Deadpool 2, is because it was too much of that shit, and I was just like, it's overload. I can't deal no more.
And see,
that's a valid worry, but I honestly don't think they're going to go in that direction, because they don't need these characters to be too alike.
I hope not.
And I like
because it would almost defeat the purpose of having a multiverse.
Yeah, no, I hope not. I mean, Spider-Man Noir, I'm interested to see how they're going to play him. He's the one in the black with like the trench coat and all that shit, and he's from like the 1930s or something universe or whatever. So I'm curious how they're going to portray him as well. Or honestly, the little anime girl, because she ain't even, as far as I can tell, she don't even have powers. She's got like a mech and shit, and I was like, okay, I'm with it.
Oh, we going straight Japanese on this shit.
Yeah, I was like, let's do it. I was like, all right, fucking sure.
Let's go Gundam Wing Spider-Man.
Ooh. That'd be awesome. I love Gundam Wing. But yeah, I mean, just overall, I mean, obviously, like I said, if you listen to any other time I've brought this up, I'm definitely excited for it. So I think it's going to be good, and that one's also coming out in December. Right?
That might have been the one coming out in November that you were excited about.
Am I? I don't fucking know. I'm losing track of all these damn, because I feel like they're just boom, 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 and I'm like,
Well, we had 4 or 5 come out in October.
Yeah.
That we had planned on seeing, and then there's several in November already that we've discussed, and there's all the way up until Christmas. They've got. I mean, the last 3 months, 2.5 months of the year are going to be movie central.
Yeah, you would think we're in the dead of fucking summer the way this shit is coming out, but...
Hey, I'm all right with it. It's going to rack up all kind of movie points. So
there you go.
As long as we remember that little black card every time we go.
I know, right? But okay. Excited. So, yeah, I'm going to wait and see what they do with this. I just hope that all the other Spider-Mans don't end up hijacking his movie from him.
Yeah, it's time for Miles to have his due.
Right. Shit. Anyway, moving on. Benoit actually put me onto this. Now, I feel like I may have seen this somewhere once before, but never got around to getting into it on the show, or didn't really talk about it to the extent that I wanted to, because at the time it was still, in development and we didn't know much about it. And it still is at this point now as well, but alas, we're going to talk about, they are making Mega Man the movie.
Yes! Yes.
Now, I'm getting this from superherohype.com. It says, charge your Mega Buster. I wanted to slap the shit out of whoever wrote this. I was like, you don't do that shit. Anyway, y'all know how I am about puns and shit. But anyway, Mega Man is coming to the big screen in a live-action adaptation. Capcom made the official announcement, which also revealed that the feature film, tentatively titled Mega Man, will be written and directed by Henry Joust? I don't know. And Ariel Schulman, who collaborated on such films as Paranormal Activity 4 and Nerve. The two directors have been attached to the project since last year, but nothing official was ever released. Based on the influential and globally beloved Mega Man franchise, Capcom aims to appeal to a diverse audience, including not only game players, but action movie fans as well, with an adaptation that maintains the world of the Mega Man games while incorporating the grand production and entertainment value that Hollywood movies are known for. 20th Century Fox will distribute the film, while Chernin Entertainment will produce, with Masi Oka from Heroes fame. So, Benoit, tell me why your dick is hard for Mega Man the movie.
Because Mega Man is my favorite franchise of all time.
Really?
It is, bar none. It when it comes to video games, it even beats Final Fantasy for me.
Okay.
Action platformers I grew up with. I still own to this day a Mega Man 2 cart in the box from Meyer that my mom bought for me 26 years ago.
Nice.
Yes.
See, now, I'm glad that I have you on for this because I personally have not really played much Mega Man. I know there's like, you were just talking about this on Twitter. There's 10 Mega Man games?
Well,
like,
no, there's more than...
Well,
main
10, title, not
11.
like the spin-off games. But
11.
Well, yeah, the 11th one is coming out, right?
No, 11-1 did come out. It came out on the 2nd, so less than a week ago.
Okay.
Well, a week ago as of the uploading of this, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I've never really gotten down with the Mega Man, so, I mean, kind of, like, help me out with this one.
The Mega Man.
Yeah.
I can tell you're not down with the
Yeah,
Mega
I know.
Man. I'm saying the Mega Man.
Please educate us.
No, but the Mega Man is like the Mario Land of...
Oh, God. I hope that you guys are sticking with us.
No, but anyway, no, Mega Man was based on a character in Japan. If you've ever seen the old anime Astro Boy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's based upon that character. Mega Man was a robot created by Dr. Thomas Light, initially named Rock. Rockman, when they brought it over to U.S. to localize it, figured probably wouldn't sell that well, so they changed it to Mega Man. Anyway, Rockman was just kind of your everyday household robot, along with Roll, another invention of Dr. Light, who was more like kind of a maid. Mm-hmm. Another scientist, Dr. Wily, and Dr. Light created a bunch of other robots together, all for automation. Things like you see nowadays, for factory work, for work in the forest, demolition, things like that. Typical plot. Guy wants to take over the world, so he reprograms these robots. In return, Dr. Light reprograms Rock into Rockman, a superhuman fighting robot. And the plot doesn't make a fucking lick of difference. Every game is just the same old bullshit, lather, rinse, repeat, but it's so fucking fun. And the original game got released in '87, and it was very innovative for its time, not just for its aesthetic, but for its ability to let the player control their own destiny by choosing in which stages they wanted to tackle first. It was not a linear game.
Really,
it was not a linear game.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Although, to be fair, I didn't know much about Mega Man. I had to do some research when I got the show notes this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out in December of '87. It was revolutionary in that sense, not in the same way that like The Legend of Zelda or Metroid was, because they were both out in '86, a year prior, and both legendary in their own way as it pertained to game mechanics. But Mega Man was just another big hit. It eventually became a big hit, but it was a big hit in the sense of it was definitely created its own genre. It was breaking the mold of a traditional game at the time. And I fell in love with it back in the 80s and fucking love it now.
Now, you were a bit dismissive of the plot, which this is going to be a different medium that this is in now. Because if they're going to make a movie about this, that's going to be their main focus. So, I mean, is there anything of this that you want, to see in a movie adaptation? Do you think that they should change anything story-wise? I mean, hopefully they don't call him Rockman in the first 10 minutes, but that'd be actually kind of funny.
No, I mean, they can refer to him as Rock. Because, I mean, the puns in the Mega Man game are huge. Oh, God. You got Rock. You might not have caught that, but you have Rock, the male robot. Uh-huh. You got, I'm using the Japanese names, by the way. Rock was the male robot. We're playing Pokemon now.
Uh-huh.
Had Rock and his sister, I say in quotes, Roll. So you had Rock and Roll. Now, there actually was one robot created before them, the Prototype. We know him as Proto Man in the States, but over in Japan, his name is Blues.
Really?
So you got Rock and Roll and Blues.
Real quick, who came up with Mega Man? Like who's the creator?
Don't even get me to try and pronounce his name because I am gonna butcher it.
Because the Dragon Ball franchise that's by Akira.
Oh no, same artist.
Okay, Akira Toriyama, and all the characters. For those who don't know, real quick, Dragon Ball sidebar. The characters in the Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Z, all that. their names are based off of food. Kakarot is carrot. Vegeta is vegetable. Piccolo is pickle. Broly is broccoli. So it's like
Right.
every or if it's not off of food, it's off of something food related. Frieza is freezer. His older brother Cooler. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's like they had all these like pun names for different things. So when you're saying that like blues and rock and roll and all that, and I'm like, did they know each other, or was this just like a thing that was happening in like the early 80s of like animation and shit like that, where they were just like, we're just gonna make everybody's name some kind of pun?
Honestly, every time I heard Vegeta, I did not think vegetable.
You will now.
No.
Or actually, you know what? I got so excited I made a mistake. No, it wasn't the same graphic designer. It was oh god, see, I don't know Japanese for shit. It was Kinji Inafune.
Sure.
Inafune.
I'm sure no one will be offended.
So,
Our two
No, it's
listeners
okay.
in Japan probably won't get pissed off. They'll be like,
No, they're
but
gonna be laughing.
they're
somebody,
like, we know your big dumb American tongue can't pronounce this shit, so it's fine.
Yeah, but I gotta watch my tongue now, and I must have a fan because somebody was quick to try to knock me on what I said about Rocky last time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Shots
yeah.
fired.
Yeah, sidebar. Benoit was talking, and I had him clarify too. Benoit was talking about when we were talking about the Rocky Creed 2, when we were talking about the Rocky franchise. And he said that it was one of the longest running franchises. And somebody on Twitter, I think it was actually Besotted Geek, actually. Which shout out to Besotted Geek. They had said that he was like, Rocky is the longest running franchise. He was like, are you sure? And then they had a GIF of James Bond, and I was like, I didn't even think of James Bond. Like, yes, he's been since like the 50s, 60s, some shit.
But I said it was
One of,
I
yeah.
was
You
saying,
did not say
you did
the.
say
Yeah,
one
see?
of, so
See?
you're good.
Yeah.
So it's either that or Godzilla. One of those two.
Yeah. Godzilla's been around.
But
for a
yeah,
while.
but back to the whole like the story of the film, how I think it should be. I think it should be pretty much a direct rip of Mega Man 1, the original game.
Okay.
You have two scientists, two people in robotics, one Light, one Wily. They make a bunch of robots to try and make life better for people. Wily decides to reprogram them for world domination. There you go. That's a plot. Good enough for me. Good enough for me.
Now, question. Since we
Okay.
were just talking about animation earlier, how are you wanting to see this develop? Do you want a live action movie? Do you want it to be all CG? Do you want it to be like 2D animation? Claymation? Stop motion?
Oh god, claymation.
Claymation.
Nobody wants anything to be claymation ever.
Oh.
Well, given the nature of one thing I failed to mention prior was that another revolutionary part about Mega Man is that whenever you chose the stage, you would beat that robot master. You would obtain their weapon, and that would change your color palette.
Yeah. You get like upgrades from your enemies you defeat.
Well, yeah. Given that, I don't think it would really be super practical to try and have practical application of effects.
Sure.
There's definitely going to have to be some CG involved, so it's going to be just a matter of how tight is it going to be. Because I want to see like a human boy looking Rock. I want to see him in a Mega Man suit that is simple.
So then you do want live action, and you don't want it to be like Toy
Oh,
Story,
I-
all CG.
Oh, I wouldn't care either way because it's Mega Man. I'm probably going to
Sure.
see it, and if it sucks, I'm going to bitch about it.
All right.
But
So Mega Man is
Let it
your
just not-
Spider-Man, then.
Mega Man is my Spider-Man.
All right.
And I just hope to fucking God it doesn't go down the route of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that Dragon Ball Evolution movie. Oh my god. Oh, that shit is
That was
trash.
rough.
That is. See, if we do a drunk review one of these times, I want.
You said if we do.
I know. I want Dragon Ball Evolution to be one of the first that we. It don't have to be the very first, but I haven't watched that movie since it came out, and man, that movie is fucking hot garbage. Ooh,
Not just garbage, hot garbage.
Flaming dumpster fire,
Dumpster
falling down
fire.
a hill, like, oh god, it's just terrible. I mean, like I said, I don't know much about the lore of Mega Man, but I think he has a really cool character design, and like his supporting characters I think have really cool character designs. So I would be interested in it just to see how they bring him to life. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if they do a live action, I keep doing. If I know, I do want to see a live action because I think they can make it work. Because if hell, I mean, look at the Bumblebee movie, like that in the Transformers and all that other shit. Like they can make it work. Or just, for example, the Marvel movies, like Iron Man is a perfect example. He's a human being with a CG, like body armor, mech suit type deal. So I think they can make it work. My only concern would be that I'm not always all that hot on child actors. So I'm like, if they're going to have an actual kid, like a human child do it, then they need to make sure that he's going to be good. And
they have to definitely do some cast.
They can't Anakin Skywalker this bullshit.
Well, this is an official movie licensed by Capcom, for the characters and everything. There was an unlicensed fan movie of Mega Man released in 2010.
I heard about that. Looking into this, yeah.
I'm gonna be viewing this on Rabbit sometime in the near future. If anybody listening wants to watch, follow me on Twitter and you'll know when.
Yeah. Throw your handle out there.
Yeah, I had to plug myself. Benoit Gaming at BENWAH. That's phonetically Benoit Gaming. No underscore, no space, none of that shit. If you don't know what Rabbit is, I'll teach you that.
Right. Right. Look in your mom's nightstand.
I don't think it's that kind of rabbit.
No, is that not what we're talking about?
I don't think so.
No.
Sidebar, those are really weird. Just to have something that looks like a little animal that you... I can't do it.
No?
Nope. Don't give me any little like butterfly or anything like that. No.
That's hilarious.
Do you think when that girl from down south, when her dog dies, she'll have it stuffed and then use that?
Ew. I hope not.
Oh, God, no.
You don't need to be giving these people some ideas. We have a whole segment called "Dumb Shit of the Week" for a reason.
That'll be on next week.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, just like I said, like I don't have anything more to add to this, but the one caveat that I have that I'm worried about with this movie, or I'm sorry, the two caveats. Mm-hmm. The directors who did Paranormal Activity 4 and Nerve, I've never seen Nerve, but Paranormal Activity 4 is shit.
Yes, it is.
And my other caveat is Masi Oka is, I guess, producing this or helping produce this as well. Now, for those who don't know, if you've ever seen Heroes, Masi Oka, Jesus, is he plays Hiro Nakamura in Heroes. He's the guy who can time travel and shit. He was awesome. He was an awesome character. Heroes was a good show for like a season and a half, then it just got terrible. But he was also the coroner, I guess, on Hawaii Five-0, if you watched that bullshit.
Yes, he was.
So, yeah. But I love him as an actor and a person. He's a good guy. But he also co-signed that bullshit-ass Netflix Death Note movie. And he was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be great. No, you guys are going to love it. Fans are going to love it. New fans or yada, yada, yada. It's going to be great. No. And if he's producing this, if he gives his stamp of approval of this shit, I am worried. I'm just going to put that out there. Not saying that means that it's going to be immediately doomed to be bad.
Just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
I'm tempering my expectations seeing his name attached to this because no. Just no. Anything else that either of you want to add on this one before we go?
No. I didn't have much to contribute this time anyway.
Boo.
I know, I'm lame.
You need to play all those Super Mega Land games.
Super Mega Land.
I'm gonna hook you up with those.
All right. Moving on. It's that time again for America's #1 show, Dumb Shit of the Week. That's right. Dumb Shit of the Week is the show where you submit your findings of dumb shit and we talk about it. Want your submission on the show? Find us on Twitter at GiantLeap, 4 Geeks, or you can email us at officialOGLFG@gmail.com. Here's your host, DJ Melly Mel.
Thank you. Well, we have come to our second dumb shit of the week in October.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
all
our horror
right.
themes.
And our horror theme this week is bad jump scares. Our first one is sent to us by Besotted Geek, and you can find them at Twitter at BESOTTED Geek Pod on Twitter. Yay.
Yeah, just beside a geek
Yeah.
pod. Yeah.
I know, I gotta make everything extra. They said nothing specific, but anytime that a cat jumps out of nowhere or someone shuts a mirrored medicine cabinet and there's someone reflected behind them.
Yes. That is the most overused jump scare in any horror scary movie I've ever seen. Anytime the character is in a room or with the medicine cabinet.
Sure.
I'm like, and it's open. I'm like, there's going to be something in the room when they close it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
happens every fucking time and it drives me crazy. That is
Being all
so
misty
played
in the
out.
shadows and shit.
Yeah. It's like they'll get out the shower.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fogged up. They'll wipe it off, and then they'll close it, and it'll be like the killer will be in the corner, but you can't see him. And it's just like that is so. The first few times I ever saw that in a horror movie, I was like, okay, all right, that's pretty cool. Now it is so played out.
I would
and
say I
just
think
like,
it's just become part of the definition of horror movie. Like horror movie, medicine cabinet jump scene.
I swear to God.
It's become a bit of a trope in itself.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a cliche.
It's yeah, and to the point that they made before that too. Just anytime it's like a tense moment, and then something goes boom, and then it's like it's a fucking cat or some shit. It's like
Fucking cat.
Are you serious with this bullshit? I'm like, cats don't do that shit. Cats are either so disinterested in you and what's going on that they are just off doing their own thing, or they will be the first ones to hide if any kind of bullshit they think is popping off. So I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Now, I think Monty Python and the Holy Grail did that a service when they all went fleeing from the cave and it wound up just being a bunny.
You know, I've never sat and watched that the whole way through. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, I've never,
Oh.
opening to closing
Sure,
credits.
sure, right.
Bits and pieces here and there, Twitter, clips on Reddit, whatever. Our second submission was sent to us by Garbage Modern with an E at the end. And they were on Reddit. They said, "The devil inside, when the crazy woman just screams for no reason other than for a jump scare, with a shitty orchestral string over top. It's probably not the very worst in cinema history, but like the rest of the film, it's so transparency lazy that it just ends up being pretty fucking insulting."
Now, have either of you seen The Devil Inside?
I can't remember if I did or not.
Benoit?
I like the song.
There's a song called The Devil Inside.
That's in excess. Every single one of us, the devil inside.
Oh.
All right. I might have to look that up later.
I haven't seen the movie, but they did attach a link to the YouTube video, and I have no context for the scene, but it's just this like lady. She looks like she's an insane asylum or something, and she's like real close to like the girl, and she's like talking to her, and she's like, "Yes, something else, and you have to worry about this, that, and the other, and you know everything will be okay if you do this, that, and the other." And then she just goes, "Ah!" And it's just like, what the fuck is happening?
I want to apologize in advance if anybody can hear now that he blew your fucking eardrums out.
Yeah, sorry.
To all the earbud and headphone listeners of
Yep,
this.
sorry, kids. Hey, if you've been listening to this, you know I get loud in the motherfucker. So, sorry.
I'm gonna say that I did not see this movie, and probably with good reason. I don't particularly like scary movies, so unless Tyler drags me to them, then it isn't happening.
You could be mad when we go see Michael Myers then.
No, I've already prepared myself we have to go see Michael
You
Myers.
braced your booty hole for that one.
Yeah,
But
it's all right. I mean, he's not really. The ones that get me are like the possession movies.
Really?
Like
those are the ones I'm the
anything
least
to do
scared
with
of.
being possessed or demons or devils or anything like that. That kind of stuff scares me. Sinister was kind of suspenseful, and so
Sure.
stuff like that kind of fucks with me a little bit. But
That's fair.
like slasher movies, they don't. They're just a slasher movie. Chucky, Michael Myers.
Are you religious or just spiritual?
I'm just spiritual,
Okay.
not religious.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that seems like it might hit kind of close to home with you if you do believe in stuff like that. So,
me, I'm so sacrilegious about shit, and so cynical, I guess, about spiritual kind of stuff. No offense to anybody, but it's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff don't bother me when it's like they're raising up off the bed and spinning in circles and shit, and it's like the power of Christ compels you and all that bullshit. I'm
like that kind of thing is weird. I think it's just the whole. I don't know. I can't explain it. And people have asked me previously, why is it that this freaks you out, but you can sit and watch Chucky all day long, or
Sure.
you can sit and watch Michael Myers all day long, or
well, to be fair, Chucky's
Evil Dead, or
Sure.
any of these like where it's blood, guts, and gore
Right.
for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Blood, guts, and gore don't scare me.
I feel like you can get quickly desensitized to like gory horror.
Yeah,
films.
yeah.
Just like
But
splatter
stuff
shit,
that-
and it's like,
Stuff that reaches on a different kind of level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, I don't. Yeah, I don't understand like that particular jump scare. It was, I don't know, like
It's I guess not seeing the movie is kind of a not leaving me with much context.
right. Yeah, it's not helping. And like I said, if you'd seen the scene, it'd make more sense, I guess. But it was
I mean, I
stupid.
can kind of picture it. We've all heard the orchestra music.
I can scream
and-
again if you
yeah.
want me to.
No, I think our listeners are good. They're still trying to get the ringing out of their ears from that first one.
I can do it. It's all good.
With that, we're gonna move. Actually, since I mentioned Sinister, to the next mention, and woman are snakes on Reddit.
Damn.
Well,
Women are.
it must be referring to Lilith.
Yes.
No. I think it's women are snakes.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Mm-hmm.
See, don't have my glasses today, so it's
Yeah.
can't tell if it's an E or
Women,
no.
woman.
Women.
Apparently,
are
y'all
snakes.
snakes. So.
All of us, not a particular one. All of us.
Snake bitches.
Women are snakes said, I love Sinister up until the end with the ending jump scare. The movie was so eerie and atmospheric and had used prior jumps, I'd say appropriately until the end. I still love the movie, but I just think how much scarier it would be without that end jump scene. I can kind of relate to that, because that fucking where he pops up in the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scared me. And
Sinister, I actually enjoyed it surprisingly more than I thought I would. Like the concept of the movie, at least from the trailers, I was just like, this is kind of whatever. But actually watching the movie and watching how they basically took the idea of Slender Man and made it into a movie before they made the Slender Man movie. It's like he comes to the kids, he convinces them to kill their family and shit, and just you see the little clips of like the people dead. They're like snuff films and shit, but then as the movie goes on, you get the full context of what happened, and it's like the child of each family,
right,
did these horrible things and killed their family and shit because the Sinister Man, whatever you want to call him, made them do it.
right.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, no, that ending jump scare, it didn't ruin the movie for me because they had so much goodwill going into it where I was like, okay, I didn't like it. Kind of like the first Paranormal Activity. I really enjoyed that movie all the way until the very end where she does the jump scare like right into the camera and shit. So, but it didn't ruin the movie for me, at least in Sinister's case. But I understand their argument.
I can too. Like I said, I enjoyed Sinister. I didn't like, I don't like being scared, but I did enjoy Sinister. It was a good movie. And then that end scene, I had to watch Nemo or something afterwards because I really did. We were living in a little trailer house. I think it was that time when Sinister came out, and we were like 5 miles out of the back of nowhere, living in this little trailer house and fucking watching Sinister in the dark. And then the jump scene popped out, and I was like, nope, nope. I gotta watch Nemo or something afterwards.
Help me out here. Was it a trailer or was it a house? Because you keep
No,
calling it trailer
it was
house.
a little trailer, like a
Okay, because you keep saying trailer house, and I'm like, am I missing something?
a mobile home.
Build additions
No,
to it?
no, we didn't build onto it.
It
but
started off as a trailer, and then we just made a house and connected them to.
I always call them trailer houses to make people who live in trailers not seem like I'm shitting on what they live in.
I think, look, if you live in a trailer, you've accepted Joe's station in life. I don't think it sounds horrible. Never mind. All right, moving on.
We have another submission from Rule 2 Productions, and they were also on Reddit. Lots of Reddit this week. And they said, any fake out jump scare where it turns out to just to be a cat.
Yeah.
So, damn them cats.
Yeah, that one was just another cat one. Which, I mean, we've said our piece on that.
Yeah.
Cat jump scare. Any animal jump scares where it's like the dog or any kind of shit like that. It's a bird flipping out in a cage or some shit. It's like, all that shit. Yeah, eat a dick.
So we've established that women are snakes and we don't like cats.
Yep,
Got
pretty
it.
much. Yeah, that's your takeaway from this, kids.
The final submission that was sent to us is from Fistful of Dice, and they are also on Reddit. And they just said all jump scares are bad jump scares. Just all of them.
That's
Yeah,
not true.
I don't agree with
That's
that.
not
either.
true.
I don't.
There is the classic high school jump scare where the white kid pops out of
Oh my
the
God.
garbage and gets punched in the face and just slinks back down.
That is hilarious. He's in like a recycling trash can thing or something, and he's wearing some kind of, I don't know, spooky mask, and
Yeah.
they're like, I guess supposed to be doing some kind of fake interview with the black kid and shit, and he pops out and he just fucking cold cocks that motherfucker. He just immediately goes back in there, and it's like, yep, that's what you get. That's why I don't like the trope of the black guy dying first in horror movies, because I'm like, no, either one of two things is going to happen. The black dude is going to either A, run, or B, knock your ass the fuck out. Probably both. He will probably knock you out, then run.
Right,
Because I'm
right.
always like, look,
Let's
man.
see more of that in movies.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's a football player. He just does them both at the same time. Stiff arms the guy.
Right, he's like a Heisman Trophy. Yeah. That's awesome.
This gets all hacksaw Jim Duggan on you, 3-point stance.
Right, hell yeah.
No,
Dab
no.
real quick and then run off. Yeah. Oh.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you have any to add to this, or
Me personally, I mean, these guys covered it pretty good. These are the kind of jump scares that I think are just in bad taste and shit. Okay, for example, I think a good jump scare. In the Halloween trailer, there's the scene where the little boy, he's like, oh, there's something in the closet. And the girl's like, he's like, can you close the closet door? And she's like, yeah, okay, sure. And she goes up and she tries to close it, but she can't. And it's like bumps. She tries to push it again and it bumps. And she's like, what the fuck? And she opens it and Michael Myers is just in the closet with a knife.
Stabs her.
That's
Yeah.
a good jump scare.
I agree.
That's a good
I agree.
jump scare.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I would say that's not even a jump scare, though. I mean, because at that point, we know he's there.
Yeah.
And she knows something's wrong. A jump scare is supposed to just come completely out of nowhere.
I guess that's fair. Then what would you say would be a good jump scare then, Ben?
Nothing really comes to mind for what would be a good jump scare. I think it's mainly subjective, not in that we all have our different opinions, but we value jump scares on our own personal basis. Like, does that resonate with me?
Sure.
I am, and I don't even really like the term jump scares. It's more like startling. I think jump scares are often just a cheap tactic in a film that doesn't know how to adequately build suspense. And personally, like if someone kind of sneaks up behind me or if I see something, I don't normally freak out over it. I just whatever.
Sure.
So it's like,
I think
either that or if somebody were to touch me from behind, they'd probably end up like that high school kid in the garbage can.
Oh,
But-
Halloween, like scare. What are they? Fucking haunted houses? Not my friend. Not
Okay.
at all.
See, I would say a jump scare that actually. Okay, so going off of your definition, like something that's unexpected and comes out of nowhere, I appreciate it if there's actually something to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a jump scare that's just, oh, the lamp fell over or it was a cat or some such bullshit. If there's actually a jump scare where it's like, shit, the killer or, whatever demon, whatever the fuck it is,
Right.
and you're actually in danger and someone dies immediately after that.
Right.
That, I think, is a good jump scare because there's actually something to be afraid of as opposed to an artificial way to build suspense and fear in the audience when it's like, okay, there's nothing wrong. Or
Oh, definitely. There needs to already be some kind of established threat. Yeah.
if it is one of those bullshit ass jump scares, and then immediately after something bad actually happens. So like if the cat runs out and it scares you and you're like, oh shit, oh god, I thought it was something, and then the killer comes up, that I think is a good one because those are effective because it's like you have that adrenaline rush of like, oh shit, for a second, oh it's nothing, but then death is like immediately upon you.
Dead.
Those I think are pretty good. Those are valid, at least to me. Anything else?
That almost seems anticlimactic to me. Like, if you're going to get jump scared from something, and then like, and then like 1 second later, then you're dead. It's like, no, why couldn't the jump scare just be the fucking knife?
I think because people have become so accustomed to that trope that people are trying to find ways to subvert your expectations. Because it's like you expect it to be, oh, it was just some bullshit ass thing, and then it's like death, and it's like, oh shit, okay. So I mean, I think
it takes you because they're hyper vigilant and hyper aware of things, and then they kind of calm down because they see that it's something not harmless.
Yeah, because if you've seen enough scary movies,
it breaks your vigilance for a minute, and then bam.
Yeah, you kind of know how these things play out, so it's like anytime you can subvert my expectations in a good way, I'll support it.
I get what you're saying. Try to explain it as it's a reminder that a threat is there. It gives you something that is really just innocent. And then that split second later, you're done. I get that, but it doesn't really affect me as much. I think it's really anticlimactic a way to kill somebody off or to have something bad happen.
But it's like you said, though. It's very subjective. It just depends on your sensibilities and like what you find to be scary or suspenseful. So I get it. That's fair. That's valid.
Let me ask you: you're somebody that watches scary movies on the regular, and you enjoy them, correct?
No, actually,
I think most scary movies
he doesn't
suck.
like horror movies at all. I'm probably the horror aficionado.
Well, I knew you were.
Yeah.
I knew that you are all about them scary movies. Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's me.
I don't watch a lot of horror films, not because they scare me, just because the story sucks.
Fair enough.
It's like,
fair enough.
To have a scary story, you have to have some kind of protagonist that is under a reasonable threat that you actually have a connection with. And either A, the characters aren't established well enough, B, they're established in a way that you don't fucking care if they die, or C, nothing makes any lick of sense whatsoever within its own created universe. So you start questioning things, and that takes you out of the movie itself. You can't immerse yourself in something you can't make sense of.
That's why I made this motherfucker watch Jason X as part of all the horror, because I knew he didn't like horror movies. I was like, what's the worst horror movie I can think of? At least in my mind, one of the worst. I was like, Jason X, yep.
Yep, that'll do it.
And if you haven't listened to our All the Horror collaboration with Movie Geek and Proud for Jason X, go check it out. We posted that one the day after our main episode came out on Wednesday. It was something else. We had a good time doing it, though. It was fun.
Yep. Well, I think that we've covered all of the jump scares. So I'm going to remind our listeners, Dumb Shit of the Week is your show, so send in your submissions. Every week we'll compile them, read them, and shout out to you for sending them. So keep them coming, and you can send it to us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or email it to us at officialoglfg@gmail.com.
Okay, kids. It's time to get serious. My heart can't take no more of these disappointments and tragedies. So, Chris Evans had put out a tweet. God, I want to say just a few days ago.
Yeah, it was within the last week, I think.
Yeah, and well, here I'll give you the story and then we'll break it down. So I'm getting this from CBR.com. It says, ever since the filming Ever since filming for Avengers Infinity War began, there have been increasing rumors that the film, as well as its sequel, Avengers 4, would be the final adventure for many of the original 6 Avengers: Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Captain America. While the future of many of these characters is still up in the air, Evans previously said that he wouldn't be opposed to returning to the character. After all, the actor's contract with Marvel was up after Infinity War, but he extended it for Avengers 4 when it was decided to split the movie into 2. However, with his tweet, Evans sure makes it sound like he is officially done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and bidding farewell to a character he has played in more than 7 films. Now, the tweet that he put out is, it was on October 4th. So he said, officially wrapped on Avengers 4. It was an emotional day, to say the least. Playing this role over the last 8 years has been an honor to everyone in front of the camera, behind the camera, and in the audience. Thank you for the memories. Eternally grateful. They go on to say, as of yet, little is known about the story for Avengers 4, but it is assumed that the superheroes that survived Thanos' Infinity Snap will assemble once more to save the universe. While Steve Rogers had a smaller role to play in Infinity War, it's been teased that he will take the lead as one of the most important characters of this next and likely final film. I can't even tell you. Okay.
I'm really sad.
Hear me out. The whole concept of Captain America was so, like, overly hokey and obnoxiously patriotic and, like, propaganda-ish in its whole concept. Mm-hmm. And I never cared about him as a character in the comic books, in video games. I've never gave a shit about Captain America. His shield is cool. I liked his costume, but as a character, I could give a fuck less. 2 squirts of piss, I didn't fucking care at all. Chris Evans brought this character to life in a way that I never thought would have been possible, and made me give a shit about a character named fucking Captain America, okay?
True.
Like, it would be like me having an emotional investment with Captain Planet. Like, you know, like I never thought in a million years I would ever give a shit about Captain America, but this man was able to make me love this character. Chris Evans, he's been playing Cap in 8 movies so far. They said for the last 8 years, pretty much every year he's been in at least one movie. All 3 of his movies, you know, The First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Infinity War. He has a cameo in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
And he has a cameo in Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
And from now, a lot of people I know don't like Captain America: The First Avenger all that much. I don't know why. I fucking love that movie.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, he of all the MCU origin movies, more so than the first Iron Man or Thor or anything else, even the first Guardians, I think he has the most endearing.
Sure.
And I had the most investment in his character because he is even almost more so than Spider-Man, he is the underdog who finally gets his moment in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, he's this scrawny, just runt of a kid who he aspires to greatness, but his own physical limitations keep him from getting there. He has the will and the drive and the heart to be a hero, but physically he just can't because he's like 5'6" and like 80 pounds, soaking fucking
tiny.
wet. Yeah, so he's the runt of the litter, and his best friend Bucky is like this ideal, you know, go get him, you know, yes sir type dude, and he aspires to be that, but he can't, and it takes them putting him in a super soldier program to get him to that point.
Right. And
he is almost even more so than Spider-Man, he is what they mean with great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
In the first Captain America movie, they tell him the guy, the professor who's doing the experiment or whatever, he tells him that the super soldier serum, it only enhances what you already are.
Right.
He's like, so a bad man, it will make him even more bad. But, you know, a weak man who understands the value of strength and, you know, what it's like to be powerful, you know, it will enhance you and make you more of that.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's almost, it's almost poetic in the way it plays out. And I'm just really bummed because I'm like, I don't want to see him go, man. And I mean, they couldn't have picked a better actor to be Captain America. I mean, even in real life, like if you follow Chris Evans' Twitter,
which I think I do,
he is very like politically active, and you know he speaks his mind about shit, and he's
a good dude.
He embodies what you would want Captain America to be.
Absolutely.
Because I think most people, myself included, you see him as almost like a Superman type, where he's like, oh, the good guy, true justice in the American way and all that shit. And he is that, but when the country's on some bullshit, he'll call him on it like, hey, I ain't down for this bullshit. Like, this is... There's a line in The Winter Soldier where Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, he's talking to Cap and he's telling him about how they're making these ships that can target people who may be a threat but aren't necessarily haven't done anything yet. So they're like profiling people and shit. And Cap is like, you know, like we, you know, when we fought for people to be free. He was like, this isn't freedom. Like, this is fear.
Right.
He's like, this is bullshit. And he, you know, leaves S.H.I.E.L.D. because of that. And the whole thing in Civil War where he gives up the Captain America moniker and he gives up his shield and shit like that because he's not a perfect person. He is imperfect, but he accepts his, you know, his limitations as a human being. And it's this whole thing. I'm like sitting here just jerking off to Captain America right now. But I mean, he's an awesome fucking character. And I never realized how cool he was until the dude who played the fucking Human Torch and the dude from what is it? Not Another Teen Movie, because that's the parody of that movie. But what's the movie that Chris Evans he's in because he has the whipped cream on his nipples and on his dick and shit?
Oh, that's
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues.
Yes, he's in it. The kid from that ended up being fucking Captain America, and I'm just like, all right. Or wait, or maybe it is Not Another Teen Movie that he plays that character in.
Oh, wait. The movie where he did it to himself, or the movie where that happened? Oh, no, that was not...
Okay, because it was a parody of that.
That was a spoof
I
of
would
the
say
Varsity
he was
Blues
not in
scene.
It was a
Varsity
girl
Blues.
that does that, right?
In Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
It's the chick that played in the first and second Final Destination.
Oh, okay. But...
Yeah, and she wound up in the Resident Evil films, too.
Yes.
Yep.
She was on Heroes, too, actually.
Yep.
That's 2 Heroes references in one episode.
No.
Go watch Heroes, kids. Only the first season, though. But anyway, yeah, just the kid from Not Another Teen Movie in the fucking first 2 Fantastic Four movies. That if you would have told me, like, yeah, this dude's going to be Captain America and you're going to fucking love it, I would have never believed you in a million years. But he did it. And I'm just like, I don't want to see him go. It's like, why? You're still so young and you have so much promise. But to be fair, he wants to be a director. Like, he is a good actor and he likes acting, but he wants to make his own movies. And I'm like, I can respect that.
Sure.
You know, I mean, but that don't mean you don't have to play Caps, though. I mean, come on.
I mean, look at Clint Eastwood. He writes, directs, stars in. He does it all.
Right, produced by, hair and makeup by Clint Eastwood.
Right.
And yells at chairs.
Costumes by Clint Eastwood. Chairs provided by Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't want to go too long on this because, you know, I just hope that hopefully he gets a good farewell by the end of Avengers 4. Like, we still don't know how that movie's going to turn out. People are going to die just like they did in Infinity War, but I don't want to see Cap go.
I really want to see a trailer for Avengers 4.
I heard November.
Okay.
I heard November we're going to get a trailer. Because
Okay.
it's coming out next summer. So
Yeah.
I think by November we're going to get our first trailer.
I'm eager for that. There's a lot that is unanswered from Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of speculation on the internet. Excuse me. There is a lot of fan speculation that, you know, just chatter amongst the waves. And
Sure.
I'm so ready for a trailer. And I think once we get it, we're all going to be mind blown. We're just going to be like, psh.
I think the moment speaking of Infinity War, I think the moment where I realized how much I cared about Captain America was in that trailer where he's going up against Thanos and he's like trying to hold his hand back and shit and he's like screaming and shit. That one moment I got like chills and I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill Captain America and I'm going to cry like a fucking baby. I was like, no. I'm like, why is this happening to him? Like,
no, you just cried like a baby when they killed off Spider-Man.
Don't bring that up. I'm still sensitive about that.
He's coming back. He'll be all right.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, he had a great fucking run. I mean, honestly, I couldn't ask for a better Captain America. And honestly, down the road, when they eventually reboot all this shit and recast these actors,
there will not be another Captain America.
I know. I was going to say, I don't know how. Same thing with Iron Man. I don't know how you're going to ever make another Iron Man without Robert Downey Jr., and I don't know how you're ever going to have another Cap without.
Honestly, they didn't even do a Human Torch very well without Chris Evans, so.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan did all right. That movie is just garbage, though. To be fair,
I would say maybe it's more the movie overshadowing.
Yeah, because Michael B. Jordan, we know he's a good actor.
Right.
That movie is just
it's just
shit. Yeah,
that's sad when you got such a bad movie that you take a good actor in it.
That's what they do. Fox put out bullshit ass superhero movies. And then Marvel picks up these actors and they put them in good superhero movies.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, Human Torch, Captain America. Michael B. Jordan, Human Torch, Killmonger.
Right.
So it's just like, hey, you got to start off in some bullshit ass Fox shit, and then they'll bring you over. They're like, come on, we gonna do you right. But anyway, moving on. This particular story is kind of near and dear to my heart because it is about podcasting. And I have been kind of hinting at this for a while, talking about it, but the rumbling is growing louder over time, and I totally buy into this, and I'm like, there's a lot of validity to what they're saying. So to give you the rundown, now this is going to be a little bit of an info dump here at the beginning, so just bear with me. I'm getting this from cjr.org. It says, podcasting was supposed to be one of the saviors of digital media. Inexpensive, addicting, profitable, and popular. But now it's like the old line from baseball legend Yogi Berra. That place is so popular, no one goes there anymore. Penelope? I don't know. Panoply. There we go. The podcasting unit set up by Slate Magazine recently laid off most of its staff and says it will now become just a distributor of podcasts rather than the creator of them, despite what appeared to be a strong support for its existing podcasts. And on Wednesday, BuzzFeed announced it was also laying off staff at its podcasting unit. The company said it will continue to do podcasts, but won't have a dedicated team the way it used to, and will now mostly use freelancers rather than staff. Audible, the audio arm of retail giant Amazon, also laid off some staff from its podcasting unit recently. They go on to say, so if one of the benefits of podcasting was that they made good money, why are companies like BuzzFeed shutting down or downsizing their operations? One obvious answer is a glut of supply. In 2015, a list of must-listen podcasts was 200 items long. At some point, At some point, even podcasting aficionados started to wonder who had the time to listen to all these podcasts. A similar thing happened with video. After everyone pivoted to short-form video because Facebook said it wanted it as much as possible, after creating teams of people to produce them, monetization failed to follow, in part because Facebook never rolled out a reliable way of doing it, and has now moved on to focus on longer-form video for its watch feature. And many video teams at newspapers and news websites were left twisting in the wind. The ironic thing about podcasts is that despite their flaws, they remain one of the best ways for a media outlet or publisher, even an individual, to connect with an audience of passionate supporters and pull them into a long-term relationship. But they are also time-consuming, and at a time when many media companies, including giants like BuzzFeed, are under pressure for revenue, they probably aren't the slam dunk solution that a lot of companies are looking for. And so even highly creative podcasts like some of the ones BuzzFeed created can't find a home, which is unfortunate. Now, none of this is to say that podcasting is dead, just that, like anything else, it requires an investment of time and money to do well, something that not every media company has a lot of right now. Perhaps it was always made more sense as a niche market for a passionate few rather than the next big solution to the media's financial woes. So, go ahead. Go ahead, Mel.
This is what happens when everybody tries to make everything about money.
Fair.
I mean, as we sit here on a podcast,
Right.
Yes, we've grown from episode 0,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike has since come out the closet, and we have upgraded to,
Mhm.
you know, we have decent equipment, and
Sure.
we,
Gotta
you
get
know,
that Patreon money.
we have that ability to, you know, phone in a friend so Benoit can join us and doesn't have to make the trip with me every week, or is capable of, you know, doing the podcast with just Mike if I can't make it, whatever. We're not in it for the money. Oh, I think we've gotten one sponsor in the entire year that we've done this.
Yeah.
And what did we get? We got 2 pair of headphones.
Hey,
They are
thank
great
you,
headphones,
Studio.
by the way.
I love
Studio.
my headphones.
I love them too. I use them all the time. But I mean, I didn't do it for money.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I did it because it's a topic that I enjoy to talk about. It gives me a chance to hang out with you. Gives me a chance to, you know, throw some banter at Benoit over there. And it works. And this is actually my stress release for the week.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that you go through a hell of a lot more than I do. Putting this together and show notes, and, you know, you send it to us and you've got the equipment and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Even still, you do it because you enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
hope.
I mean, look.
Well,
Don't get it twisted.
yeah,
kids.
I'm not saying if
If
anybody
you would
wanted
like to sponsor
it.
us or send us anything through PayPal and or our not yet existing Patreon, by all means, I will take your money gladly. I
Right,
will never
right.
ask you for it.
Right.
But if you just want to throw a couple dollars, you know,
Right.
hey, I'm not going to send it back.
That is correct.
But no, you make a absolutely great point. And I mean, and Benoit can attest to this too. Like, Benoit is a streamer
Mm-hmm.
on Twitch, and I know that, you know, Ben, he does fundraisers and stuff
Sure,
like that.
sure.
But it's like, on one of the streams that I was on, I did a little Let's Play thing with you. I jumped in on one of those trivia games or something like that.
Jackbox.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
plays some
and
Jackbox games,
you guys had talked about in that about how, you know, you don't necessarily want to be super big, and, you know, you're not doing
Right.
this for money and shit like that. Like, you know, it's, you like doing it because you enjoy doing it.
Right.
If money falls into your lap because of this, great.
Awesome.
You know, if not, you know, it's not like, hey, if y'all motherfuckers don't start sending me some checks, then I'm shutting down my stream.
Right,
you know?
right. The show must go on regardless of
Right.
if we're gonna get paid.
Right.
And I've actually had a couple friends that are like, "Hey, I'm gonna get into podcasting, and I'm gonna make a bunch of money, and I'm gonna
fuck you
I'm gonna
is.
support my family on
The
podcasting."
fuck you is, yeah. Unless you
I'm gonna be a YouTube star.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
that's another thing, and I'm like, that's not my goal.
Yeah.
My goal is not to make money. I have a job for that, and even then, at my job, that's not necessarily my goal.
Well, my goal is to make money at my job. Motherfuckers better pay me.
I'm
No, I
not
know what
saying
you
I'm
mean,
working
though.
for free. I'm just saying.
Bitch better have my money, as ODB would say.
I would say Friday morning, 6 a.m., my check better be there. But
right.
at the same time, money is just an object, and there's always going to be more of it somewhere.
Yeah, money's a means to it.
It's not going to be my motivation for anything.
No, I got you. I think some of the problem is that, like you said, people go into podcasting with the wrong idea. They think it's like the gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a get rich quick. Like, all I gotta do is just, you know, sit down, talk some bullshit for, you know, half an hour, a couple hours, and, you know, just wait for the paychecks to roll in. Like,
Right.
it doesn't work like that. Like, for anybody who isn't podcasting and is thinking about doing it, and if you can hear my voice right now, I will tell you, don't do it. If your goal is to make money, don't do it, because it may come, but it's going to be slow. You have to build an audience. You have to build a on-air personality. You have to craft a show that people are going to want to listen to. You have to learn how to do all kinds of shit that you would have never probably, if you don't have experience in editing and audio equipment and shit like that, there's a lot of shit that you have to learn how to do. I'm still learning shit.
You have to learn how to Twitter.
Yeah, if you go back, and you have to become your own PR person,
Yep.
your social media shit. Like, if you go back not even 15 episodes ago, listen to how we sound, and then go and listen to this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have come a long way.
We really
and we're
have.
still, refining and fine-tuning it. This is a niche market, and people, because it's becoming popular, people are, I feel like, oversaturating the medium. For example, I think I said this a few weeks ago. Ellen DeGeneres has a goddamn podcast. It's like,
Does she really?
yeah, it's like,
I love Ellen, but
right? Seriously, I know, right? It's like it's becoming to the point where anyone who
I thought
has
that was the point for podcasting, was not to be overwhelmed by celebrities.
but that's the thing. It's anyone who has the most modicum amount of fame is jumping in podcast. I mean, if you go through Apple's or iTunes like podcasting charts, most of them are celebrities or pseudo celebrities from like reality TV shows. Failed. Not necessarily failed because I don't want to. But pretty much their acting career is dead. The dude who played Lex Luthor on Smallville,
Michael Rosenbaum?
he has a fucking podcast.
Okay.
His is actually pretty decent though.
I would say I would check that out just because it's Michael Rosenbaum.
But like Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard have
Yeah,
podcasts and shit, and it's just like,
they do it together or they do them
yeah,
separate?
together and separately.
Oh.
Anna Faris, Chris Pratt's ex-wife, she has a fucking podcast. It's like there's already too many podcasts of just amateurs like us.
Sure.
But then when you have celebrities and pseudo celebrities doing it as well, there's too much. And
Yeah.
it's like, the people who already have some recognition are going to eat up most of the audience. And then only podcast aficionados or people who are actively looking for something different are going to find people like us.
Right.
And
That's kind of annoying too.
yeah, it's
Because, shout out to our listeners. I don't know what the official number is right now.
sure, it's I don't
But-
fucking know.
You need to run one of your diagnostics and have it come out.
Yeah, right.
But, we had to work hard for them listeners.
Oh yeah.
We had to work hard to make it into iTunes, recommended list. We had to work hard to get X amount of downloads on Spotify and Podbean and why do we need to flood the market with more?
I agree. Now, Benoit, you've been kind of quiet over there. What are your feelings about this whole thing? Because I know
I'll say the wheels are turning over there.
You are more, into like the visual medium more so than audio. But like, what are your feelings about all this?
I personally don't think that mine nor millions of the other people's opinions and views are important enough for them to have the ego to think they can just record their soapbox for an hour and a half and make money.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do this because, specifically this podcast, I do this because I know Mike. And because I'd done the streaming thing for years. Prior to that, I used to MC. I've actually been on a live mic in front of a real audience feeding off of them. I do this because despite the fact that I kind of lose track of my thoughts sometimes, and I blame that on the fact that I'm getting a little older now,
As we all are.
I do this because it's simply, to me, a way to shoot the shit with somebody I know. That's it. If nobody listened to this, I'd still do it.
Oh yeah.
Same reason why I play video games on the internet. I like to play video games. I like the idea of having people huddled around me like it was an arcade cabinet. Or matter of fact, I think I'm just repeating myself now from the first time you interviewed me. But
Oh yeah.
the fact of the matter is, anything over the internet is the way to engage people whom you otherwise might not be able to. But even if it is something just as local as a LAN party or me just talking with you, so be it. at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything more or less to me. But on the flip side, when I do get any positive feedback for this, it means the world to me. And I'm not saying all this to minimize any effect this might have on anybody else, because I can't say I'm humble and be humble. You can't do both. But I appreciate the feedback, good or negative, more than anybody will ever know, nor will I be able to articulate. I'm not doing this to get a paycheck. Mm-hmm. I might joke about it, but this is not my means. This is not the end-all, be-all for me. I'm going to do more in life.
Mm-hmm. We just happen to do this on the side.
All right.
Yeah, this is just something I do on the side because I genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like, because we all have 9 to 5s. It's like,
Yeah, but who knows? 6 months, a year, 3 months, hell, I might even tell Mike sometime before the next podcast, like, you know what, man? I'm done. Who knows?
Sure.
Not to, like, flake out on him, but just to be like, you know what? If for whatever reason I just don't have the passion for the art form that is editing audio. Mm-hmm. I don't mean to make it sound bigger than it is, but if for whatever reason I have a whim to do something else, I'm just going to fucking do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where that's why I said, like, if you're trying to get into podcasts because you think that this is going to be some get rich quick shit, don't do it. If you don't like having conversations with people, if you don't like just putting your opinions out there and, having, because I podcasting to me is like it's a conversation with delayed responses to me, because it's like, we're talking to each other, but we're also aware that we're talking to an audience as well. Like, I try to make it to where it's not insulated to the point where it's just like you're overhearing a conversation of somebody in a restaurant. Like, I want the audience to be a part of the conversation.
Right.
That's kind of the whole reason why we do Dumb Shit of the Week, is because I want to make it interactive as much as I can.
Right.
And I like having... Because I'm going to talk about this kind of shit no matter what. Even if, it's just me just rambling off to Amber and she's just like, okay, I don't fucking care. Like, it's... But I
be calling me at midnight, hey, I got to tell you this, because Amber
don't
want to listen.
Aquaman?
Oh my God, we got a new trailer.
Right.
We do that now.
Right.
I'll be surfing the internet at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll find something and
you will.
I'll shoot it to you in Messenger, knowing that you're sleeping and you'll get it when you wake up.
Yeah.
And then I usually get a response, when you're on your lunch break or something. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, this is legit, or hey, that's fake. Just keep on going.
But yeah, no, it's I try to think of it as just a conversation, and if people out there enjoy hearing my annoying nasally ass voice, then by all means, it's like, join in. Like, I don't want people. That's why I'm apprehensive, because people, tell me like, oh, you should start a Patreon, and oh, you should start selling merch, and you should do this, that, and the other. And it's like, I'm always apprehensive about that kind of shit, because like Benoit said, it's like, I don't necessarily feel that my opinion is worth, being like, hey, I'm going to put this behind a paywall and you got to pay me to hear me talk shit about fucking superheroes and shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, that being said, I am not opposed to any of this, but I don't feel comfortable asking the people who listen to me drone on about this shit for free to start giving me money to listen to me do the same thing that I would do for free anyway.
Yeah, I don't...
Now, if you're a company and you would like to sponsor One Giant Leap for Geese, please send business inquiries to officialoglfg@gmail.com.
Or follow us on Twitter.
Right.
Giant Leap, the number 4 Geese. I don't know.
Basically, if you like what we're doing, awesome. If you don't, whatever. If you want to give us something, hey, how you doing?
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I'm getting to know Ben, and that's seems to be a pretty cool dude. And I know Mike. I've known Mike, 2 years now? Mm-hmm. So I would say that we're pretty close friends. And you know my boyfriend, and I know your girlfriend, and I
don't have one, ladies. Right. That was subtle. That was subtle. Yeah, that was subtle. That was good. But yeah, no, I mean, I think podcasting should remain a niche medium. I don't think that it should ever be more than what it is right now, because I don't feel like it is something for celebrities and big movie stars and shit like that, because it takes a certain type of person to just sit down with headphones or while you're doing laundry or making dinner or something and just be like, hey, I'm going to listen to somebody talk for, the next however long.
Right.
And can't watch it as on YouTube or,
it's not a video, not a visual thing.
Right. It's so if you're not,
I mean, we'll have video or visual pictures on Instagram for our Halloween episode, but
still,
that's different.
It's it's not, it's an auditory medium, and if you're not into that, and a lot of people aren't, like if you don't listen to audiobooks and that kind of shit, or just like hearing stories and shit, this shit's not going to be for you. So I don't think that the medium is ever going to die out. There's always going to be a place for talk radio.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always going to be a place for podcasts. I just think that the bubble is going to burst here soon, and the bigger companies are going to see there's not money in it like they thought there was going to be.
Right.
And they're going to start pulling out. And that's fine, because that
opens up our market.
Right. That will make way for the people who are hobbyists or do this for fun to get recognition and create an audience based off of the content that they put out, and not necessarily the celebrity that they've gained from something not in podcasting.
Right.
So yeah, I'm
and also, I mean, they're already celebrities. We already know all of their life. What else could they tell us?
Yeah, exactly.
And when are they going to find the time to do so?
I'm always curious about celebrity podcasts, because I'm like, especially with actors and shit, because it's like, I don't care about necessarily you as a person.
Right.
I like the characters that you play in the
movies,
films and TV shows that
yeah.
I watch. I don't necessarily just want to hear you shoot the shit about X, Y, and Z. Hey, look.
Well,
If Bryan Cranston
some
made a
celebrities,
podcast about anything, though, I would totally listen to it, because I fucking love Bryan Cranston.
Chris Evans, if he had one,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd like to hear, what he's got to say.
Talk about him not being good.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it's just I'm interested to see how everything falls out. Once the bubble does burst, see who stays, see who goes, see the newcomers that come up. But yeah, I.
So is it fair to say that it's dead or dying, or it's just
it's not
in an
dead,
adjustment period?
And I don't think it's dying. I think it's evolving. I guess that's a way that you could put it.
That would be a good word for it.
I think that it's just gonna take time for the big companies to realize, like, hey, we can't just jump on this and just, it's not gonna be a cash cow like we thought it was gonna be, and eventually they'll start to dissipate and disappear. I mean, hell, BuzzFeed and Slate and shit like that, they're laying off whole teams of podcasts and groups and shit. So yeah. But speaking of which, before we go off of this, for those of us who aren't following us on Twitter, I wanted to put out there, if you are so inclined. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not doing this for moolah and all that shit, dollar bills, y'all. Like, not necessarily. But I am a glutton for recognition. So, if you guys want to make Mike C Squared blush, we are trying to participate in something called the 2018's Discover Pods Awards. It is something that they are going to be announcing the winners in November, I believe. Mm-hmm. But if you're not following us on Twitter, go look for us on Twitter, or go find Discover Pods on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And they have a pinned tweet right now about the podcast awards that they're going to be doing in November. And go vote for us for, best entertainment / pop culture podcast. You'd be doing us a huge favor. I would be eternally grateful. I don't have much to give you besides my voice, but if you DM me with the right attitude, maybe send you some dick pics or something. I don't know.
Only when asked for.
Right. Only when asked for. I will not preemptively do it, but if you ask me nicely, I'll hook you up. But just not because, we're trying to, go run and take this to, some sponsor and be like, look, see how popular we are, give us some money.
Right.
Maybe, but, because like I said, I don't feel comfortable asking our listeners for moolah.
Right.
But
no, that's awkward.
But
maybe big business.
Right, yeah. It's like, hey, if you want to buy some shit, hey, if you want that Blue Apron subscription and want to use, our code to get some discounts, hell yeah, I'll do that shit in a heartbeat. But,
I mean, I've personally voted for Two Girls on the Bench.
Traitor.
Well, I mean, hey, they are pretty fucking awesome. They are pretty awesome.
Our good friends.
Yeah. I love Two Girls on the Bench.
Yes.
Trisha and Shauna, we had fun. Just to finish this out, I just thought it was funny because when I made the title, the whole, podcast are dead, I was like, oh, somebody's going to listen to this. Like, oh, shit. Like, oh, they're canceling the podcast. It's like, is One Giant Leap for Geeks going to end? Is the band breaking up? It's
Not anytime soon.
Right. Tune in next week to find out. No, it's as a medium, it's going to go through its ups and downs just like everything else. Just like, radio and, television and everything else.
I'll say that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Talk radio.
That's
basically what it is.
Just radio in general, the talk shows that they have on the radio show in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Right. Billy Bob and Jim Beam on the morning.
Nate and April in the morning. That's
that dumb shit, yeah.
I mean,
no offense.
I don't know. I have always aspired to be on the radio.
Ooh,
when I was younger, I always said that I wanted to work for a radio station and I wanted to just play whatever music I wanted, and it was going to be just my thing. I wanted to work the graveyard shift and just be me and eliminate all the sponsors and the commercials and just be real with people.
Night Moods with DJ Millie.
And I thought it was cool when you asked me to start doing the podcast. I'm like, okay, so we're mixing two things that I'm, quite excited about. And then we're throwing it on the radio, internet radio or podcast radio or whatever you want to call it. I mean, we're essentially the radio for the new generation.
Pretty much. Yeah. Cause I have not listened to talk radio, quote unquote, in quite a while, but I listen to a lot of fucking podcasts. Yeah. I mean, shit about pop culture, politics, news, conspiracy theories, true crime. I listen to it all. So I don't want to call myself an aficionado per se, because I don't have all this like inside baseball information like, yes, and the Joe Rogan podcast established in 2006, and like, no, I'm not quite on that level, but I'm a podcast fan.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like the fucking, what is it, like those Rogaine-ish commercials where it's like, I'm not only the president, I'm a member. But I mean, legit, I do. I love me some podcasts. But any other final thoughts on this one, guys?
I don't think so. I think
on this one, no.
Well, with that, Benoit's going to get out of here because he did not get a chance to check out, just Venom.
You had to hold yourself back.
He didn't get a chance to check out Venom.
Yeah. You guys spew your venom about Venom.
Right. Oh boy.
I'll say Mike's got a lot of venom about Venom.
Boy. Oh, yeah. But no, man, thanks for coming on again. And real quick, before you go, because I always forget to let you do this, so this is your opportunity to do it. Go ahead, plug your stuff out there, let people know where to find you and how to watch you.
I never think to plug myself because I don't really care, but since I got the stage to myself, let's do this. Follow me on Twitter at Benoit Gaming, BenWahGaming. I think I spelled that right. If I did not, you won't find me. Also, you can catch me gaming on Twitch if you're into video games, retro games. I am currently in the midst of a Mega Man marathon due to Mega Man 11 coming out on October 2nd. I want to get my hands on it, and I was trying to raise funds to do it, and guess what? I already did in the first day! That doesn't mean people can't stop giving me shit like Mike was saying earlier. I love taking gifts. But if you're a fan of video games, check me out on twitch.tv/Benoit. Simple, twitch.tv/Benoit. I go live at random times because my schedule is not always the most consistent, but damn it, when I go, it's nothing but a good time. Thank you, and have a nice day.
All right. Thanks again, man, for coming and sitting and shooting the shit with us, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yes.
I'll be here. Same time, same podcast.
Well, probably not same time because, Damn me, I can't ever get here on time.
Jesus Christ. Lord knows. So, we saw a movie.
We did.
Mm-hmm. We saw a movie with Tom Hardy.
We did.
Mm-hmm. We saw a movie about a super anti-hero?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we saw Venom.
As if you didn't know.
Mm-hmm. No secret there. The way that we're going to do this, if you haven't listened to one of our reviews before, it's been kind of a experiment, a learning experience as we've gone on. We used to just do flat out spoilers, then we tried doing no spoilers, but now we're going to do it mullet style. So if you don't know what that means,
Party in the front and business in the back.
Or
No,
business in the front, party in the back.
God dang.
Fuck that up.
Completely. My bad.
But so basically how it's going to be set up is we're going to just give our general thoughts on the movie in the first half, and then I will make it clearly obvious when we're going to go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, and if you don't want it spoiled for you, or if you don't give a shit, either way, there will be an obvious point where we're going to go into spoilers. You will know. So you can listen to this first half. We'll give you our thoughts, give our review or our rating, and then we'll go into spoiler territory. So before we talk about the movie at all, I have to address something. No offense to anybody, because some of the podcasts that I like and listen to have made this same mistake, and I have. This is a public service announcement. No one seems to understand how Rotten Tomatoes works. Okay, I am so sick of people bitching about Rotten Tomatoes scores and, oh, they're paying off critics to give bad reviews and this and the other. Look, the percentage score on Rotten Tomatoes is not reflective of how good or bad the movie is. The percentage score is the percentage of people who liked the movie. So if something has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, that does not mean that it is a horrible fucking movie. That means that 29% of the people who saw it liked it. That's it. That doesn't mean it's E or a F or some shit like that, or A or B. It's just saying that this amount of people that reviewed it, this is the percentage that liked it, as opposed to the percentage that didn't like it. That's it. That's all it is. So when people are on here like, oh, it doesn't deserve a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, look, entertainment is subjective. People like what they like. They don't like what they don't like. That's not saying that the movie is necessarily good or bad, or that you will like it or you won't like it. That's just saying that out of all the people who said something about it, this is how many people liked it. That's it. So stop complaining about the Rotten Tomatoes score. If you like the movie, great. That doesn't mean anything, though, beyond that as far as the percentage score.
Right.
Reviews in general. I take reviews as, hey, if I'm listening to people who are like-minded and who have similar tastes as me, I'm just using it as a guide as to whether or not I should go see something. Or a lot of times, I'll listen to reviews after I've seen the movie to see how other people felt about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because you know how you feel about it.
Exactly.
Especially after seeing the movie.
Yeah, I'm not using this as a, barometer of whether or not I should go see something per se. Sometimes I do, but for the most part, it's just like, hey, what did they think about it?
Right.
So there you go.
And curious minds want to know.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, the movie itself. So I'm going to steal this from a podcast that I like and listen to, The Weekly Planet. Mel, I want you to give me a synopsis. Tell me what the movie was about. Without spoiling it, just very briefly, just what was Venom about?
Some guy has got good job, good girlfriend, gets himself into a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Rich guy gets guy fired.
Mm-hmm.
Rich guy thinks that rules don't apply to him. He's going to be greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Tries to find something that makes lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
Then loser guy that is from the beginning that had everything, lost everything. He got to make everything up. Got to save the world.
That is vague as shit. She said nothing about the symbiotes or like aliens or nothing. Which it's fine. I'm just doing it just to fuck with you.
I know.
Okay, so basically, general thoughts. I wanted to start this out because spoiler alert, not real spoiler alert, but spoiler alert. I wasn't too hot about this one. But that being said,
I told you that halfway through the film that I knew that.
Okay, but I wanted to start off saying something good about it. The best thing I could come up with that I enjoyed about the movie, I did like the soundtrack.
Yes.
Now, that can be misconstrued. I don't like the soundtrack as in the Eminem Venom song and all that bullshit. That shit is fucking trash. I liked
disagree.
The thematic music, the orchestral shit.
Sure.
It was very dark, and I like the score, I guess. More so than the soundtrack, the score of the movie. That's a better way to say it. I thought that it was moody and atmospheric, and it went well with what they were trying to go for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the only good thing I can think to say about it. So what is your good thing about the movie? Well, you're probably gonna have a lot more good things.
I'll say I have quite a few good things.
Okay, so go ahead. Lay it on me. Go ahead.
I thought that the actual shots that they did,
okay,
that was really, really well put together.
Okay.
The little bit of CG that they did have.
A little bit. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, the CG that they had was pretty good.
Okay.
In my eyes.
Okay.
I thought that the casting was well.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I could keep going.
I mean, okay. I mean, that's overall though. You did enjoy it.
I did.
Okay.
And we can definitely say more so than you.
Yes. Okay. One of the things that I noticed, they did ADR for this movie.
Uh-huh.
Now, ADR is like additional dialogue recording, I think is what the acronym stands for. And basically, remember when the first trailer came out, when they didn't even show Venom in the trailer and everybody was like, where the fuck is the symbiote? Like, what is this shit? It was just Tom Hardy screaming and having a seizure and shit. And it was like, are we going to see Venom? No? Okay. In that first trailer and in the subsequent ones after that, Jenny Slate, the actress, she plays the scientist character that comes to Eddie and is trying to tell him about, what's going on at Life
Industries, or whatever.
Yeah. She says symbiote.
She did.
In the trailer.
She did.
In the movie, she doesn't say that. She says symbiote.
Yes.
They changed it. They got so much shit for how she pronounced symbiote that they had to go back and ADR her lines. So every time she said symbiote and not symbiote. And I'm like, what the fuck is a symbiote?
I remember when
Why are you over-enunciating the I?
We first saw that trailer and oh my God, you threw such a shit fit.
I was like, what the fuck?
You're like, no.
because symbiote is, for all intents and purposes, a made-up word.
Right.
But symbiosis is a thing.
Right.
So no one says symbiosis. So it's like, why are you saying symbiote? Like that bothered me to no end. And apparently it bothered enough people to where they were like, okay, fucking these fanboys are going to fucking throw a shit fit if this is in the movie. So we got to fix this.
Right.
So she had to go back and re-record her lines just for that, to fix that. So that's one thing. Okay. Another good thing I can say. They didn't do a lot of setup for a sequel or a universe, which I liked. Because the problem DC has had is they are trying too hard to build a universe from one movie. And they're just throwing all these Easter eggs in here and references to other characters that are coming up in other movies. And
DC?
Basically, stopping in the middle of the movie and playing trailers for characters for other movies that may or may not ever fucking happen. They didn't do that in this. This was a contained story. It had elements for a sequel towards the end, but for the most part, the story was what it was, and they weren't worried about trying to set up some other bullshit.
Right. There's only one part that would possibly even come close.
And it's that stinger.
Yeah, it's the stinger at the end.
Yeah.
And so we did see people that didn't stay for the stinger.
Yeah. It was funny because going into the theater, the movie because they had let us in because the girl that was cleaning the theater, she was pretty much done.
Right.
And she was letting people come in already. And we walked in, the trailers were still, the credits were still going.
rolling, yep.
And I was like, I stopped and looked at Mel, and I'm like, no, we got to go back out because I don't want to see the stinger before we see the fucking movie.
Right.
So we waited outside for it to finish. Then we went in.
Hands over our ears.
Right. And finished, and started the movie. One of the things that I noticed right off the bat that kind of threw me off, and I was like, that's interesting. And it kind of explains a good chunk of the first half of the movie. The production company Tencent helped co-produce this movie. Mm-hmm. And Tencent is a Chinese production company.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out initially why they co-produced this until I started watching the movie.
Right.
The very first scene, it starts off in Malaysia. Mm-hmm. And a good chunk of the movie for the first half takes place in Asia. And I was just like, what is happening? Why is this important to the movie?
Right.
And this is a mild, minor spoiler that you see it in the trailers and everything else was very minor.
It wasn't like the guy was from Asia.
No. But when the spaceship crashes,
mm-hmm.
it crashes in Malaysia,
mm-hmm.
and one of the symbiotes gets on I think she's a paramedic or some shit.
Yep, she is.
And she then goes and she's like traveling the world, or for the most part Asia, and she's stuck there for a good chunk of the movie, and then pops up later mm-hmm. at an airport, and it's this whole thing. I'm not going to go too far into it, not just yet, but I was like, okay, I see what's going on. They were like, how are we going to fund this movie and make
mm-hmm.
this work? And they're like, hey, we hooked up with this, Asian production company, and it's like, yeah, we'll do it, but a good chunk of the movie has to take place in Asia, and we have to have Asian actors in this movie for a good portion. They could have cut all that shit out, because to be totally honest, mm-hmm. when we get to the spoiler section, there is no point for any of that shit at the beginning. The first half of the movie could have been chopped a good 20 minutes off.
Sure. Because
none of that has anything to do with anything. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't at all. But I'll explain why later.
Right. I think I missed it. The very opening scene. Mm-hmm. I was distracted for some reason.
The spaceship was coming into the atmosphere.
Right,
it was
right.
crashing.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I blinked or if I was getting to my nachos or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I missed the part when the symbiote gets onto the paramedic.
It just kind of jumps out the spaceship, basically.
I missed that part. Like, I missed
it was
how
like
it got
that
from the spaceship to her. And obviously, I knew that it was in her because
mm-hmm.
there are telltale signs once it's on her.
Yeah, her eyes get all weird
and
shit.
And she's like walking. Like
she's like a fucking zombie for the rest of the movie. Yeah.
Right. But I had missed.
It happened just like that. It was nothing major, or like they didn't lead up to it. It was just like, bah, symbiote. And it was like, oh, okay. One of the things that I keep making jokes about with Tom Hardy, that one of the reasons that I like him as an actor, is because he's a character actor. He becomes these different characters, and you can watch 2 Tom Hardy movies and he will be completely different from one movie to the next.
Sure.
And I always make jokes about this, but Tom Hardy loves him some fucking voices.
Yes, he does.
He loves making some weird-ass voices and accents.
Just as much as Johnny Depp loves costumes.
Pretty damn much, yes, exactly. The Venom voice, I didn't mind, because Tom Hardy does the voice. He actually does Venom's voice.
Right.
And,
right.
He's Eddie, doing an American-ish accent.
I think you had mentioned something about the voice when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had offered up an explanation, and you're like, okay, yeah, well, that's far-fetched, but we'll go with it.
Yeah. And I'm going to argue against it now. Now that I've had time to think about it.
I thought about it, too, and I was like, I wonder if it was not necessarily an intentional
we
thing.
need to explain what we're talking about first, because no one knows what we're talking about.
Okay, well, I'll go back to that. But I had thoughts. And I was like, oh, hey, this maybe, and it may be still far-fetched, but
we'll
go with it.
So, as Eddie Brock, he has his, everybody's got problems and all this shit. Like, he his American accent that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many different times throughout the movie where I don't know what acting choice he made during this, but he does this weird thing with his voice, and it has nothing to do with the symbiote whatsoever, because he's doing it before he even gets Venom on him.
Right.
He keeps doing this weird, raspy voice shit when he's trying to be, like, intense, I guess. I don't know. Like, the director of this, like, should have been like, okay, cut, stop. What is this shit, Tom? Like, no, look, stop it. There's a scene where he's talking to Jenny Slate's character when she approaches him and she's telling him about the symbiotes. And she's like, oh, I need you to go there and find out what's going on, yada, yada, yada. Because he's a reporter.
Right.
He's talking to her, and he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm not going back there. Like, like, these people ruin my life and this, that, and the other. And then he starts going like, you don't understand. This is back up, back up, and I'm like, why is he sounding like this? He's all like, this is serious, man. And I'm like, why is he okay? And Mel was trying to say like, oh, it's the symbiote, this, that, and the other. I'm like, no, because he hadn't even gone to the lab yet. So that's just him doing that. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, you'll know what I'm talking about when it starts happening. And you will probably have the same reaction I did is, why the fuck is he doing this? Like, what acting choice is this? Beyond Eddie's weird voice, I will wholeheartedly disagree with you. The CG looked bad. Like, really fucking bad. There is points where, and this is not a spoiler either, because it's in the trailer,
right,
where he's fighting the other symbiote. And I did not know what the fuck was happening for a good chunk of that. Like, when they're actually tussling together, and the symbiotes are, like, splitting apart and coming together and morphing and all this other shit, I'm just like, it just looks like a bunch of fucking shit on the screen. I'm like, I can't tell who's fighting what, if he hit him, if he didn't, who got hit. It's like the Michael Bay Transformers movies. It's just like a bunch of metal just on the screen, just flopping in the air. And I'm just like, I guess this is exciting. I don't really know what's happening.
That's fair.
And it looked so bad when the symbiote, when they're like trying to test it on the other host and shit. And this is in the trailer as well. And it comes out of the one guy's mouth and shit, that it kills or whatever. It looked so fake when it was on his chest and shit. I was just like, y'all didn't clean this up. This looked worse than when it was in the trailer. I was like, what is this? Man, for $100 million movie, the special effects in this shit were terrible, man. That motorcycle chase with the tendrils coming out and all that. I was just like, this shit could have been done better. I thought it was bad. I was like, for something to be coming out in 2018, this does not look good at all, man. I don't know if they blew all their budget on Tom Hardy's paycheck or what,
Probably
but
so.
it did not look good. I did not enjoy the CG. And the pacing of this movie is really weird to me.
Yes.
It's so slow, yet so much is happening at the same time. The first 2/3, I would say almost, of the movie, nothing is really happening. It's just set up. You're learning about the characters, the world, the circumstances, whatever. I swear Venom doesn't show up until like 40 minutes into the fucking movie.
Right.
But during that time, it's dragging, but so much is happening. Like, we the spaceship crashes. We see the symbiotes. We meet Eddie. We find out his job. We meet his girlfriend. We find out his show and all this other shit. And it's just going. But it takes so long for anything to actually happen. By the time Venom shows up, I'm just like, the fuck time is it? Like, how long have we been sitting here right now? Like,
right.
And then when he does get the symbiote, we spend a lot of time with him learning about, Venom and them trying to feel each other out and communicate with each other. And then by the time you get to the end where he fights the villain, it's just boom, 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 over. And it's like, okay. The movie is just paced really weird.
It makes me wonder if there are large chunks, like on an extended version.
On the cutting room floor, yes.
Yeah, that are missing.
Tom Hardy did an interview right when the movie came out, and he said that they cut 40 minutes of the movie out. And he said that those are some of his favorite parts that they cut from the movie. So there are huge chunks of the movie just gone. Because there's like plot inconsistencies where it's like, wait, if this happened, why is this going on right now, and vice versa.
It definitely makes me want to see it when it comes out on DVD.
A director's cut or some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. I want
the Snyder cut.
I don't know about all that, but
sure.
I definitely will try to find an extended edition or director's cut or raw edition or whatever they're gonna call it.
Sure.
I'm excited to see that
The
because
Venom cut.
I want to see what was cut.
Yeah,
and I want to see what kind of a difference it makes.
That's fair.
For the quality of the movie.
That's fair.
It
Because
probably won't change your opinion.
Probably.
But, I mean, it might...
It would help the story make a little bit more sense to me. Because
it might be worth it.
There are things that they established with the symbiote and what it's doing to the host and whatnot, and then it just stops. Mm-hmm. But they don't explain why. Mm-hmm. Now, Mel was...
I was explaining the shit out of everything.
Bless Mel's heart. She was defending the shit out of this movie afterwards. She was like, no, see, it's because this happened, and because this and this happened, and he wanted this to do this. And I'm just like, yeah, but they don't say that in the movie. And she's like, yeah, but it's implied. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, see,
you can't make a plot point and keep going back to it like, oh, everybody, this, that, and the other. And then it's like, now it stopped happening. And it's like, yeah, but why? And it's like, well, you just got to kind of look at it like, and it's like, no. If you're going to spend this much time explaining this shit, you have to spend equal amount of time explaining why it's not happening anymore. And Mel, bless her heart.
I guess I'm the queen of implications.
Yeah, because she was trying her damnedest.
I had an answer for everything.
And I was just like, yeah, that makes sense, and what you're saying is valid. But that's not in the movie. I'm like, I'm sorry.
You're like, did we watch the same movie?
Right. I was like, when did they do this? She's like, well, they didn't actually do it. But you just, it's like because a character gets taken over by the symbiote at some point. And I was like, well, when did that happen? And it was like, oh, well, because the other thing had the symbiote. And I was like, yeah, but they don't ever show it. It's like, well, they looked at it and then it went to the next thing. And it was like, yeah, but that's not. I was like, okay. Because for all I know, why not stay with the thing that you were with and then y'all go together? And it's like, no. We're going to jump to a different host. And it's like, yeah, but they didn't show that. So when it just pops up later, it's like, wait, when did that shit happen? It's like, and what happened to the other thing that had symbiote? But we'll get there.
I have two issues that really rub me the wrong way. The scene when the, I guess, rogue symbiote is at the airport. Okay. And the host that it picks.
And careful for spoilers.
Yep.
Go ahead.
The host that it picks. Why does the person with said host never question a thing? Never. Like, y'all, when you see this, you're going to think the same thing. You're going to be like, what the hell? If I was in a position of this person's, I would question the fuck out of it.
There's a lot of logical leaps that you just have to go with to make it make sense, where it's just like, that doesn't make sense. How are you getting around like this with this?
Yeah.
And no one's questioning this. And it's like, okay.
And the second thing, I think that the symbiotes should have had different colors.
Thank you. Because that infight, you can barely tell who is what.
Because
they look too much alike.
You can't decipher Venom from the other symbiote.
I think his name is Riot.
Riot.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, the evil one.
I want to see, like... With the Stinger, we know the Stinger, so we can assume that the stuff set up in the Stinger, the outcome of that.
Sure. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, it's a good enough contrast to where it's like, okay, that's obviously this,
right,
and this is obviously that,
right?
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
And I just think that, because as people, we all come in many different colors. Why can't symbiotes come in all different colors?
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to be different personality, different kind of symbiotes altogether.
Now, in the comics, to be fair, Riot is like a grayish, metallic-y kind of color. But he's drawn in such a way. And I mean, if you really look closely at him in this, you can tell he is very different in how his appearance is from Venom.
Sure,
but when it's night... and they're fighting outdoors, and it's dark, and they're tussling together, you can't really tell who is what during the fight scenes. It's like, yeah, no, I get your point.
I mean, there's a way to visually make gray metallic versus black.
Yeah. They could have did a better job of, but that's the thing. Because Spider-Man's not in this shit. Venom is supposed to have a big-ass white spider on his chest, but he don't in this shit because he just has these weird white veiny things going down him. And it's just like, don't patronize me with that bullshit. Because he don't have that shit in the comics, and they're just doing that to just break up all the black.
They did try to put in a little bit of a tie to Spider-Man.
There's a couple. Now, I did say there's not a lot of Easter eggs in this, but there is one or two little things that they drop in there, like little name drops where it's like, it's all connected, see? And it's like, the fuck this shit is.
Like, I guarantee that when my brother goes to see it, he's not going to pick up on it.
No, hell no. If you don't know.
If you're not immersed in this culture, you're not going to know.
It doesn't mean anything to you.
Right. And even me, I am immersed in the culture. And
I had to explain a little bit,
it goes back to that I missed something in the opening scene. So I was talking, I was distracted, I don't know, I blinked.
Yeah.
I did something, and I missed like 5 seconds in the opening scene.
Yeah.
And that one of them Easter eggs is carefully placed in there. Mm-hmm. And after, I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that makes more sense now.
And we're gonna get to it here soon. Just one of the other things. See, I gotta disagree. I didn't feel like the cinematography was I thought it was very uninspired. There was no shots in there where I was like, oh, that looks really cool. You know, there was no like wow moments. You know, even if you watch the trailers, there's nothing in the trailers where it's like, oh, that's cool. Like it's all about Venom. That's you know, and just like, oh, look, this is the first time you're seeing Venom. You know, accurately, quote unquote, enough portrayed, more so than in Spider-Man 3.
Right.
Bullshit. But, you know, there was never like a big, for example, the Civil War trailer. Mm-hmm. Like the big awe moment in that is when everybody's running towards each other in the parking lot and shit. Or in Thor Ragnarok when, you know, he's like coming down with the lightning and shit and all that, and there's a big crowd of people like reaching up to him. Like there was no just visually moments in there where it's just like, oh, that looks cool. Like there's even in the Aquaman trailers and shit when they're in Atlantis and all that, there's a lot of shots in there. It was like, that looks really fucking cool.
Yeah,
Black Panther, all that kind of shit. There was no one moment. I mean, unless Tom Hardy flipping off his motorcycle in slow motion, unless you just thought that was just really cool looking. Like there was never a moment where I was just like, wow, that looks really cool. Everything just felt very bland and by the numbers. Honestly, it felt like really like the X-Men movies. Like there's the stories are okay, but there's never like anything where it's like, whoa, that was really fucking cool. I mean, look at this Dark Phoenix trailer. There's nothing in that where you're just like, that looks really cool. Like I don't know what's happening, but I want to go see this just for that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like there was never anything like that. So I felt like it was very uninspired and just by the numbers. The sets weren't all that great. You've already brought it up. The movie is hacked to fucking pieces. Like the editing is just all over the fucking place and the pacing is terrible. Overall, I don't really understand the people who are defending this. They're like, oh, you know, like, oh, no, not to say, because even, okay, you liked it, but you can admit this isn't necessarily a good movie.
Yeah, I just happen to like some really bad movies.
Right, but I mean, still, though, I mean, and your opinion is totally fine. But I mean, you're not going to be like, this is a good movie, and people are just being too hard on it. Like,
no.
It's all right.
It's an okay movie, and I just happen to have awkward tastes.
Sure, and that's fine. But
and I already knew that.
But I've been seeing people on Twitter like, oh, these critics are just this, that, and the other. This is a great movie. You should go see it. I'm seeing it for the third time. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. This shit, no.
Okay.
I will never watch this shit again unless it's on TV and I'm being held hostage from the remote.
I don't even go see the really good movies.
Sure,
more than
times.
Once.
Yeah.
Like Black Panther, didn't go see it a second time.
Sure.
Infinity War, didn't go see it a second time. Now, would I? Sure. But I feel that if I'm not even going to go see a big box office, I'm sure as hell not going to see Venom in theaters again.
No.
Now, that's not to say as if it come on TV and I'd be like, oh, hey, Venom's on. Okay, cool. I'll sit down and watch
it on Netflix or DVD or some shit. Yeah.
on demand.
Right, whatever, yeah.
But I'm the same with the big names, too. Be
Yeah.
like, oh, Black Panther's on. Cool, I'll sit and watch it.
Sure.
I'm just drawn to superhero comic book movies anyways.
In general, yeah. It's like
It's
you
just-
take them, all shapes and sizes and shit. So,
I
yeah,
mean-
I get it.
Oh, speaking of, sidebar. I
Okay.
know that we got a lot, so
Uh-huh.
I'll make it quick. I was at my client's house the other day,
Sure.
and he's got a wheelchair pad,
Mhm.
and it's inflatable,
Mhm.
and he had me clean it,
Mhm.
and I cleaned it, and one of the sides, it's got like these little pokey things sticking out of the side of it. It's like a rubber thing. I took a picture of it, and we can put it on Instagram, but it looks like a bat nipple from the Batman.
What the fuck?
I swear to God, I was like, oh my God, I gotta tell Mike.
Of course, DJ Melly Mel would find a way to make this shit about Batman somehow, some way, somehow. But no.
But anyways, I'm sorry. Back to Venom.
No.
We'll put it up on our Instagram.
We'll go ahead and give our ratings. Go ahead. I'll let you do yours first.
I actually enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really did. We'll put it with, what's the one above meh?
Liked it.
I liked it.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if there was one in between the two.
Yeah, there's five.
Yeah.
Really fucking liked it, meh, hated it, and really fucking hated
Yeah,
it.
I liked it.
Okay.
Um,
That's fair. And I'm not gonna give you shit for it.
Yes,
not,
you
Not
are.
yet. Yeah, when we could talk more freely, I'm gonna. Okay.
you've been giving me shit about it since we were in the theater.
Pretty damn
Halfway
much.
through the movie, you were
I'm just
giving me
like, what
shit
is
about
happening?
it. But what is your feel for it?
I got 2 ratings.
Okay.
Okay. As just a general audience member, someone, if I didn't know anything about Spider-Man, nothing about Venom, and I just liked superhero movies or just movies in general, and I just wanted to go see a flick that night, it was okay. So I'm going to say meh. It was, I didn't like it. I didn't dislike it. It was meh.
Right.
As a Spider-Man fan, I fucking hated this shit. This was hot garbage. Garbage.
Dumpster
no
fire
R,
garbage.
garbage. This shit is trash. And I will tell you why. So, that's our rating. DJ Melly Mel was liked it. I am 2 ratings. If you just want to just see a movie and you don't care about continuity or lore or anything like that, it's a meh. And if you do care about this shit, like me, fucking hated it. So now we're going to do spoilers. Spoilers. Insert siren sound here. First off, Eddie Brock is a journalist in
Yes.
this, okay? And this motherfucker, he is like an ambush journalist, pretty much. He's like one of those people that come up to you, like while you going to go pick up your kid from school and shit and be like, tell me about the toxic waste that your company's dumping and this, that, and the other. And it's just like, whoa, man, like what the fuck is this shit? Why would you ever pick him to interview the Life Foundation's, CEO?
Right.
Like even his boss is telling him, like, Eddie, look,
Don't do this.
You can't be in here fucking this shit up. I'm giving you a chance to, not go in here and do some old dumb shit. And he's like, oh yeah, well, he's even telling him, well, that guy's a crook and this, that, and the other, and he's a bad guy and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, they don't really establish why Eddie thinks that. He's just saying this shit. Now, maybe there's something that got cut out or whatever, with them giving more context to why he's supposed to be a bad dude before he gets the symbiote on him. But Eddie,
he got the visit from the lady.
that's after,
Or not the email. The email from his girlfriend.
Yeah, but that's after he's accepted that he's going to go do the interview. So, okay.
I thought he got the email
No.
the night before because he wouldn't reveal his source.
Yes, but that morning is when they gave him the job offer. They go to dinner. He tells her about it, and then he sees the email from her company or whatever because she's a lawyer. Okay.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, let me explain.
Damn, was I asleep for the first 10 minutes?
No, because
No,
you
I
had to
was-
explain some shit to me because I was just starting to just zone out, and I don't fucking care no more. Oh.
Because I definitely didn't catch that. Like,
Yeah.
I saw him see the email,
So
but I didn't
what happens
see
is,
how he come up to that, I guess.
Yeah. So what happens is his boss approaches him and he's like, hey, you know, I'm going to give you this opportunity to go to this interview with the CEO of the Life Foundation, Carlton Drake. And Drizzy, and he, you know, Eddie's real apprehensive about it. And he's like, you know, I don't want to do this. He's like, that guy's bad news. He's a crook, and he's in this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you know, look, like, he's basically like, look, I don't give a shit. Like, you know, like, I should have fired Joe ass a million times, but I'm giving you a shot to, you know, do this, giving you opportunity to go do this interview, yada, yada, yada. And Eddie agrees to it. He goes out to dinner with his fiance at the time, and he tells her about it, and she's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to do my job. He's like, you know, I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to ambush this dude and be like, oh, you know, you're doing all this fucked up shit and yada, 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 and you're a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Then the next morning, the day of the interview, his fiance, she is a lawyer, and the firm that she works at, they have a case or something. They're defending his company in a case for like a lawsuit for like testing some shit on some people when they got sick or died or whatever, and they're getting sued about it. And that's how Eddie finds out about this human testing with prescription drugs and those other shit. Then when he goes to the interview, it's going okay, I guess. And, like, not even 5 minutes into it, he immediately starts going like, oh, well, why don't you tell me about the people who have died from your testing of prescription drugs and this, that, and the other, and the nefarious shit that you do, you know, behind the scenes that people don't know about, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And the dude's like, what the fuck is going on? And Eddie just continues to go on and going into all this shit where it's just like, what does any of this have to do with the interview that we set up for you right now? Like, this ain't one of your little web shows, you doing your Alex Jones shtick. It's like, sit your ass the fuck down. So, okay, this was confidential information that he found out and went and confronted Carlton Drake with. Eddie gets fired. And not only does Eddie get fired, his fiance loses her job too. Right. And she confronts him about this shit, and she's like, you got me fired, this, that, and the other. And he's all like, oh, this ain't my fault, and this, that, and the other. Then later, when Jenny Slate's character shows up, and he's saying like, oh, you know, Carlton Drake ruined my life, and he got me fired, this, that, and the other. It's like, no, motherfucker, you got yourself fired.
Because it was probably an email that was only sent to...
It was confidential.
Yeah, it was probably only sent to her. To one or two people.
Yeah, so they most. Immediately knew it was her.
Who it was.
And he never gets his comeuppance for that. He never says, I'm sorry, it was his fault. He made his fiance lose her job.
Well, he does say, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, he's sorry that, you know, she finna leave his ass, but he's not sorry for what he did. He still defends it.
When he's in the car with Venom, and Venom's like, you know, you hear the Venom voice, but you don't see Venom.
Sure.
And she's got Hardy sitting in the back seat. And Venom says, you know, you should say you're sorry. He does have a moment there where he's like, I'm sorry for everything that I've done to you. Sorry for everything that I put you through. Needless to say, he really shouldn't. What was he doing on her laptop anyway?
Because he knew that she was working, you know, her firm was working with the Life Founder, because he was being a journalist and shit. And it's like, at what cost?
If you're engaged to somebody, I don't think that you're going to put your job over
your relationship. Or their job and you know, financial future. And he did some bogus ass shit, and he deserved everything he got for that. But he was immediately blaming Carlton Drake for this shit. And it was like, no, you did this and you fucked up. Like, this is no one's fault but your own. I think
she actually said that, you know, it wasn't him, it wasn't anything else.
Yeah, it was like, you did this shit.
You made the choice to open my email.
Exactly.
You know what kind of confidentiality I have to deal with. You knew, and you did it anyway.
Exactly.
So in that sense, I don't feel bad for him.
No, you shouldn't.
The whole him losing everything, that's really not.
No.
It's not a part of that I feel is.
Sure.
Like, I don't feel any kind of way about that.
Okay, so
you know, sometimes when sad stuff like that happens, you're like, "Oh, that poor guy." No, I didn't feel like that. I'm just like,
he did some bullshit and he deserved what happened.
Yeah, you.
She didn't deserve that shit, but he definitely did. But other than that, the other shit that bothered me about this movie is that there's so much fucking weird comedy in this. There's like a bunch of slapstick comedy and shit. Like, okay, when the police first show up at, or the Life Foundation security dudes, when they show up at Eddie's house, and he like puts his hands up, and Venom's all like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm putting my hands up." He was like, "No." He was like, "Oh, put your hands up." He's like putting them down and putting them back up and putting them down, putting them back up. I'm like, is this the fucking mask? I'm like, what is this goofy shit? And then I know people like the restaurant scene, but that shit was so stupid and shit. And he's all like, it's like, it was like idle hands or some shit. He like couldn't control himself and he's like grabbing people's food. He bites into it and he's like, "This is dead." And then he like throws it and then he gets into the lobster tank because he's too hot. And he's just flipping shit. And it's just like, is this supposed to be funny right now?
I thought it was hilarious.
I was like, but the tone, it's like you're trying to make this super serious edgelord bullshit. And then you got this just goofy, you know, slapstick fucking body comedy and shit, and I'm just like, it's like if Batman versus Superman in a Charlie Chaplin movie had a baby, it would be this, because it's just these just two randomly opposite ends of the spectrum, and they're trying to make it fit into this movie, and they keep trying to like make Venom be like a fucking comedian and shit. Like he's like talking shit, like, okay, when he's in the store and the guy's robbing it and Venom's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" and all this other shit, and he tells Eddie to jump out this window of a skyscraper and he's like, "No," and he's like, "Pussy." It's like, what?
I thought it was hilarious.
That line, the pussy line, was funny, but again, I'm like, what movie is this in? Like, this don't make sense. Like, the comedy bothered me, but that is to each their own.
Yeah.
Sure. The thing that I wanted to talk about was how you can tell that they had to do some shit to make this PG-13. Venom literally bites people's fucking heads off.
Yeah.
Okay. But there are no bodies. You never see a headless body. You never, okay, when he kills the dude in the convenience store at the end, where did he go? Did he just eat him whole?
Yes.
And if he did, the cashier seems to be completely unfazed by it. She's just like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Chen, I got a parasite," and just walks off. And it's like, you just devoured a man in front of this woman. She's never seen some shit like this before in her life. And it's just like, oh, that was kind of weird. And it was like, where did his body go? Like, it's
just flopping around Mrs. Chin's store.
There was no blood.
He left her for the cleanup. She looking
God.
at Eddie. "Man, you motherfucking now I gotta clean this up." No.
Right, she's like, "Look, don't come back here no more." Venom's turn to a good guy made absolutely no sense to me. There was no reason for him, because he explains to Eddie that the whole thing that they were trying to do, that they wanted to get back on the spaceship, go to the meteorite that the symbiotes came from, and bring back more so they could take over the Earth. Mm-hmm. Why does he decide he don't want to do that no more? Because I like you. That's it? It's like that. That's it? And, whoa, I'm kind of a loser where I come from too. And I'm just like, oh yes, that's the big badass, you know, anti-hero, the main character of the movie, the person that the movie is named after. Yes, his whole subplot is he's a fucking loser on his planet, so he wants to just stay here on Earth and be the only symbiote because that makes him cool here, I guess, because there's no competition.
I would say they had to set it up so that they didn't involve Spider-Man. The whole point of Venom having, you know, come to Earth and trying to take over is he's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. He's the bad guy for Spider-Man.
Exactly.
And so the change was put in there just because
they have to make it make sense.
They had
without Spidey.
They had to set it up. Yep, they had to set it up where there is a bigger bad guy other than Venom.
Yep. And
kind of make us be like, okay, so Venom's like a Harley Quinn kind of thing? Or...
sure, yeah, kind of. That's a good comparison. And people try to make the argument like, oh, they're going to bring Spider-Man into this in the sequels. You can't now, because you've established, okay, the whole Venom's original backstory is the symbiote gets on the Spider-Man. It enhances his powers and this, that, and the other, but it makes him start to do evil shit. So once he realizes he's going down a dark path, he gets rid of it. Eddie Brock doesn't like Spider-Man. The symbiote gets on him. He gets all the knowledge of Spider-Man from the symbiote when it was on Peter. And they both equally hate him, and that's what drives him to go after Spider-Man in the first place.
Right, because Peter's the reason why Eddie Brock loses everything.
Exactly.
Not Eddie Brock's stupidity.
Right, exactly. So now that they've changed all that, there's no reason for him to ever fight Spider-Man, because it's like, well, you never knew him in the first place. And if you're a good guy now, why would you ever go after Spider-Man? And what's going to happen? The symbiote's going to leave Eddie, go to Spider-Man, and get off Spider-Man and go back to Eddie again? It's
right.
There's no point now. So it's like you can never make this make sense anymore without just really bending over backwards to try and make these things connected. It's like they just ruined his whole mythology. Now, to the thing that we were talking about, characters in the airport and all this shit. Okay. So in Malaysia, when the symbiote... Oh, and that's the Easter egg. J. Jonah Jameson's son is the pilot of the spaceship that crashes at the beginning of the movie, because they were like, oh, that's Jameson. Because they're like, oh, there's still one alive. And they're like, that's Jameson. And I was explaining to Mel, because I think that's why you missed it, because I leaned over and I was talking to you. I was like, oh, that's J. Jonah Jameson's son,
right.
Spider-Man's boss
right.
at the Daily Bugle. The symbiote is on Jameson, and the paramedic is trying to see if he's okay, and then it goes into her while she's checking on him. That's maybe the part that you missed. Because you said, well, how did the symbiote get on her in the first place?
I didn't...
She was like CPRing or doing some shit, and it just went into her. So she was
trying to resuscitate the guy because he was already dead.
Well, he wasn't dead. He was alive, but he was fucked up. But anyway, she then travels Malaysia for 6 months before she finally comes to America. And I'm like, and you want to take over the world, but you couldn't figure out how to get on a fucking plane for 6 goddamn months?
Right. Go to a fucking airport.
And the thing that we were talking about with the characters, it goes from the paramedic woman to this older Asian woman. It goes to an airport and then goes into this little white girl.
Yes.
And she's like a child.
Like 10. Probably not even.
From there, that child who has Riot in her goes to America, goes to San Francisco.
Well, I think they were already in America. Because it showed that they were in the taxi and they were going home, or getting in the taxi and going home. So I think...
Well, whatever. However
either which way, how did that baby's mama not realize, where the hell is my kid?
Well, not only that, but it's like, you telling me that this child is just wandering the streets on her own and just let her just get on a plane and go into the Life Foundation? How does she get in there? Where are the fucking security guards? Which... The Life Foundation has the worst security ever. Yeah. There's like one security guard protecting that place, and y'all literally has... Right. And y'all literally have fucking extraterrestrials in this motherfucker, and they had one camera. Like, they were like, oh, well, who let him in here? And it's like, oh, we gotta go interview the security guards and find out how he got in here in the first place. And it's like, y'all don't have cameras to know who did what? Y'all don't have key cards and passwords for each individual employee?
She had to swipe her card, so you don't have swipe logs?
It made no fucking sense whatsoever. That's why I was just like, how do y'all not immediately know it was her? I was just like, okay. The symbiote not killing the host. Now, or killing the host. This is the shit that Mel was trying to explain to me. They establish in the movie multiple times, because they keep having to get Riot a new host. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, it's Venom, actually. Venom is the one that's killed all those people up until that point.
Yeah.
And they finally get the homeless woman, and Venom is in her, and then Venom goes from her into Eddie, finally. Venom has gone through like 3 different hosts at this point. And he keeps like killing them almost immediately.
I would say Riot went through a couple hosts too.
Right. But he stayed in one of them hosts, the older Asian woman, for like 6 months, or he was in a little girl for 6 months. He was in somebody for 6 months.
Probably the little girl.
Okay, because it said like 6 months later.
Right. Probably the little girl, because the little Asian lady looked like death.
Right. Either way, besides the point.
Anyway.
The symbiote was killing the host. And they never explain why it stops doing that. Now, Mel was trying to say, oh, it's because they needed to find a compatible host. And I'm like, no, that wasn't it. Because when they had him in the black dude, they said that, oh, he was fucked up for a while, but he's doing better now. Like his readings are fine, this, that, and the other. And then they were like, oh, but his liver's failing. And it's eating him from the inside out. And it's like, well, I thought he was compatible. And Eddie, who should be a compatible host, it was killing him too. So I'm like, that made no sense. It doesn't matter. It was either one of two things. Either A, the symbiote had to feed on live flesh to keep from killing the host, or B, The symbiote just has to choose not to fucking kill you.
Maybe.
Because it wasn't a compatibility issue, because they were like, oh, it's like an organ transplant. You have to have a compatible donor. And it's I'm like, no, because Eddie keeps the symbiote and he doesn't change anything about how he is, but the symbiote was killing him in the beginning. It gets off of him because the whole reason they're trying to get the symbiote off of him because it's like, oh, you're dying. It's killing you, yada, yada. And he's like, no, don't listen to them. He's like, I can save you. I healed you before. I can do it again. It's like, well, why are you letting him die now? Like, you didn't seem to give a shit about Eddie until they were going to take you off of him. And suddenly you're like, no, I can fix this. No, it's all good. Don't listen to them. Don't fuck these doctors and shit. And it was just like, well, why were you killing him in the first place? And Eddie gets mad and he does that weird ass voice. He's like, what happened to we? It was like, what? Like, it made no sense whatsoever. And Mel, for God bless her, she kept trying to explain it.
Did.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's cool, but they don't say that in the movie. So I get why you're saying this, but they never explicitly say, you know, I am choosing not to kill you as a host because I like you, or as long as we feed on flesh, live flesh, which that isn't an answer either, because by the end, he goes to the fucking convenience store and buys tater tots and chocolate for Venom. He specifically, Venom himself asked for chocolate and tater tots.
Maybe in one of the scenes where it's deleted, maybe Eddie has a conversation with Venom and is like, look, I'm not eating people, so you need to
figure out something else.
Find something else that we like.
But that throws away the argument of he needs to eat people to not kill the host.
Well, maybe tater tots and chocolate have the same qualities as a liver.
No,
I don't know. I never ate a liver before.
Well, but you get the point I'm making, though. It was so just randomly not there anymore, and it was like, well, why is it not killing the host anymore? I don't get it.
I really think that the missing 40 minutes of this movie I really think that they were really important 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's almost another half of the movie. Shit.
I think that they cut it for whatever reason. Oh, hey, this is going to be too long, or hey, people aren't going to watch it, or we already have 10 minutes of the fucking credits, and we got 2 stingers, and we have, the second stinger is 15, 20 minutes long in and of itself. We see an entire scene at that second stinger. So, excuse me, whatever their deal was, I think that those missing 40 minutes are going to make a difference. And like I said, it probably won't sway you too much, but I think that once we see them, you can maybe be like, okay, that's at least explained more than inferred.
I will say this about it.
For some things.
Sure.
Some things are going to be like...
Yeah, it's like, why?
Totally inconsistent, and you're going to be like, what the hell? But I do think that the missing 40 minutes are going to... They're going to kind of explain a few things, at least, if nothing else. At least I would hope that they would be. And if you have 40 minutes of missing material and it's all garbage, then...
there could be a valid reason why that's just not in the movie.
right. My
thing.
We picked and choose the best, and the 40 minutes didn't make the best cut.
Yeah. My thing for this was, okay, so all that other dumb, silly shit aside, that fucking stinger at the end. So Woody Harrelson plays Cletus Cassidy.
Yes.
At the end of this, who is Carnage. And it is the most corny ass scene in the whole fucking movie. So Eddie goes into this prison and they're talking about like, oh, you must have really pulled some strings to get in here and talk to this guy. He's a crazy serial killer. He's super dangerous and shit. And fucking he walks into the cell and goddamn Ronald McDonald turns around. That fucking wig that they had him wearing.
I didn't know that Carrot Top went to jail.
Man, I swear to God, he looked like Carrot Top, Ronald McDonald, fucking Bozo the Clown, just all kind of shit. That wig was terrible. I know Cletus Cassidy has red curly hair in the comics, but that shit that he was wearing in the movie, I was like, who in the fuck saw this and was like,
if his symbiote is not that color red, I'm going to flip some shit. Because
no one's hair is that red in real life, for one. Maybe some people, but it's like, come
mine was
on.
boxed colored that color.
But I'm saying, in real life, no one's natural hair color is that fucking red.
Well, maybe he dyes it in prison.
And stop it. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the shit she does. Like, well, no, that's not in the movie. Stop doing that shit. But this motherfucker's hair was so ridiculous. But that wasn't even the worst part. He's sitting there, he's like cut his finger or some shit.
Yeah.
And he's writing in his own blood like "Hello Eddie" or some shit on the
being
cell.
all creepy and shit.
And it's just like, what the fuck? And he's like, can we just skip the whole creepy serial killer thing? He was like, unless you want me to do it, because I can turn it on if you want. And it's like, aren't you already doing that? Because I swear to God, no bullshit. He is overacting so hard in that scene. He's sitting there and he goes, let me tell you something, Eddie. When I get out of here, there's going to be
carnage.
And it just goes to black. And I was like, are you fucking for real? Is this is your sequel bait? This is the shit that I'm supposed to be like, oh, I can't wait to see fucking Venom versus Ronald McDonald in the sequel with a symbiote. I was like, man, this shit, Woody Harrelson is a good actor.
Yes.
Tom Hardy is a good actor. Everybody in this is good actors.
Even the ones that we didn't know their names.
Yeah. Michelle Williams is his fiance. She is an Oscar-winning actor. The guy Riz Ahmed who plays Carlton Drake, he is a really good. I think he may have an Oscar or a nomination or something too.
At least.
Everybody was bad in this movie. Everybody was bad. It was just like, and especially Woody Harrelson, that ending shit was so, there's going to be carnage. I was just like, why? No. Who told you was like, yeah, cut? Yes. Print, put that out. This is it. That's some of the, wait till these fanboys see this shit. They gonna lose their minds. I was like, man, no.
Maybe that's one of the parts that's missing minutes. Like, because if we just had 5 more minutes.
No, man, then it wouldn't be a stinger. That's a whole nother scene from a movie and shit, which they did at the very, very end.
We had at least 15 minutes of that other one.
What the shit that was insult to injury for this bullshit ass movie, they got the nerve to tack on the end. Meanwhile, in another universe.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
You are trying to connect these things.
No.
Like, Tom Hardy is not finna show up into the Spider-Verse.
No.
It's like, don't try to tack this bullshit on to a better looking movie that you know people want to see. Because somebody at Sony was like, yeah, this shit's going to be terrible. So let's just be like, hey, this is connected and these things are related to each other. No, they ain't. This shit does not have anything to do with the MCU Spider-Man, the Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man. This shit is not getting a sequel. I'm telling you right now. There will not be a Venom 2. There is not going to be a Spider-Man spinoff universe. That Black Cat Silver Sable bullshit ain't happening. That Jared Leto Morbius movie, that bullshit ain't fucking happening.
There's not going to be a Carnage movie.
Fuck all this shit. They have shit the bed so hard
you might as well
out
throw
the gate.
It all out.
The only thing y'all got going for y'all is cartoon at this point. The cartoon Spider-Man. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to. And y'all might fuck that up too, the way this shit is going. The scene that they do show is a good scene. Like that whole bit with him running from the police and hanging from the subway train and Peter's getting slapped against cars and shit.
Yeah, like when he's like, oh, yeah, the suspect is a teenage black boy and dragging a homeless dead man.
Right. Yeah. He's saying, he's like in a Halloween costume or some shit that or whatever. But that was a good scene. That looks like it's going to be a good movie. But for you to have the nerve to try and make it seem like, oh, these things are related. No, they not. Yeah, y'all made them both, but this ain't no universe. Like this shit, y'all couldn't leave well enough alone.
No.
They just couldn't fucking do it. Marvel is giving you a good Spider-Man. If you would just wait, they would have probably put Venom in the fucking movies. You just couldn't leave well enough to know. It couldn't just be, you know what? All they had to do was just sit back and just collect a paycheck.
Yep.
That's it. They still own the character outright. They're loaning him out. They don't have to pay to produce the movies, to distribute them, none of this shit. All they got to do is slap their name on it, let Marvel slap their name on it. Marvel does all the creative shit. They make the character, they write the stories and all that, and Sony just sits back and collects a paycheck.
Yep.
That's it. And they just couldn't do that. No, it had to be, no, we got to make our own side universe with all these other characters and shit. It's like,
It's never gonna happen. Never.
I'm so angry.
I'm
shaking.
That vein
so
in your
angry.
forehead is like
You don't even
pop.
understand. I'm just like, why did this need to exist? They've been trying to make a Venom movie since like Spider-Man 1, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and they finally just shoehorned his ass into Spider-Man 3 and they fucked that up. Then they come out with this, they fucked this shit up. It's like, y'all don't learn. I feel like they're purposely sabotaging the characters at this point now. Like, to the point where they're just like, we're never going to make a fucking we're never going to let you do this shit on your own, or we're going to taint the brand so much to where y'all got to wait like 20 years before y'all can make a Spider-Man movie.
Right.
With Venom and everything else.
Right. Yeah, because we got pretty much every other Spider-Man villain.
Mysterio!
Hey,
Marvel
don't be throwing Venom.
Marvel is making Far From Home, Homecoming 2, whatever you want to call it. They're putting goddamn Mysterio in it. The dude with the fishbowl head and the purple cape and the green costume. And it's going to be dope as fuck. I have complete faith in it. And y'all can't, oh my God, his most recognizable villain. One of his most popular, if not the most popular Spider-Man villain. Mm-hmm. And y'all just fucking this shit up. No Spider-Man. Oh my God. Don't go see this shit. If you haven't seen it, don't. I don't give a fuck what people tell you. It's not good. And if you like it, I'm sorry, because you're not getting another one. You're not. It's not going to fucking happen. I'm telling you. Now, it did make a bunch of money over its opening weekend.
I liked it, but I don't necessarily want another one. It's one of those movies where I'm sufficient enough.
It's dumb fun, yeah.
I'm good with just one. It's not something that needs to make a sequel. Not that it would make a sequel, but I'm just saying. As bad as you were shitting on it, I think I should at least, because I enjoyed it.
And that's fine.
Well, no, I wouldn't go that far. I liked it.
Yeah, you liked it, yeah, and that's fine. But fuck Sony. I'm done with y'all. Besides PlayStation, y'all can eat a dick. Like, I don't want nothing else that's coming out of fucking Sony. Nothing. Fuck, no. All right, we're done. Wrap this shit up. I'm sorry, but I just had to do a public service announcement. Like, don't go see this. Don't give this movie no more money. Don't make them think that this is going to be something productive and they can just keep doing this. Just don't. Oh, and I just can't wait to see that that Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. This
fuck that
Joker
shit.
movie with no Batman in it.
Fuck that.
That's gonna be your time to rant when that shit comes out, because you'll know how I feel by then.
I think I will, because I'm so against that damn, you got me stuck on
I know, Jared Leto.
I don't want to see a Jared Leto Joker movie either. Fuck that either. But this fucking Joaquin Phoenix Joker, it's going to be my Venom. I can already feel it.
Yep.
And you know damn well we're going to go see it on opening night.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do.
Yes, you guys can hear DJ and Melly Mel get all pissed off next
and
time.
you're going to have to keep me in check halfway through the movie and be like, keep an open mind. It'll be okay. See, now your little Venom gift is coming in handy.
I know.
Because
she got me this little weird Venom, like, squishy thing and shit. I'm just sitting here squeezing his fucking eyes out of his head.
You've been squeezing that thing the whole time we've been talking about Venom.
God. But anyway. That's it for the show, guys.
I think that's plenty.
Oh, yeah. That's it for the show. Remember, you can always find us at our home at onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or anywhere else you get your podcast. Make sure to show us some love, so go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or you just want to say hi, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks. We're on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Instagram. All you have to do is search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.